Good job, B, man. I was getting Scarface, The World Is Yours vibes. I think is that where you're going with, right?
I was just hey, that was just a hype video. That's what that was.
But that's from Scarface, right? The world is yours when he's standing out the door and he's looking at the blimp and it says the world is yours. I was getting that vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too old. I don't know. Whatever. Well, welcome to the show, y'all. This is the One Ass Cheek and Three Toes. B with that great intro. Man, get me hyped up, ready to go. Our boys are playing on Saturday night. We will talk about that game at the end. But we've got some other games to talk about. But before we do that, let's go and introduce our people. So we got Mr. B Strilla here wearing the Lions black and blue. How you doing, B?
Good. Ready for this game.
Yes, sir. Jay, always your muted boss, by the way. There you go.
What up, fellas? Y'all all right?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for this game. I'm excited for this whole weekend. Let me tell you.
Hell yeah, man. Gonna be some good games.
Hell yeah.
Mad, how you doing? Are you mad anymore?
No, I'm over last week. I'm good. How you doing?
The dust settled. The off season kicked in. You feeling good?
It's still fuck Ravens.
I love it, man. I love it. You always want to see. Let me say this one thing about these rival fans rooting for their rivals. Like I remember when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, Cowboy fans would tell me, "Oh yeah, we root for the Eagles." Why the hell would you do that? Would Lion fans root for the Packers or the Vikings in the Super Bowl? Hell no.
Nope,
fuck no. We root for the teams that go against them. So I love to hear that, man. Exactly.
Yeah,
Let's go.
A Raven fan last week said that. Oh, are you gonna still root for the Ravens? Fuck no.
Yeah, fuck that. All right, Mad Monkey, welcome to the show. You excited about your boy Josh Allen?
Always. What's not to be excited about?
That's very.
I see
true.
Robbie's got his hard hat on today.
It's the throwback.
This is
the throwback.
Big ass head. This is big ass fucking head. That's what it is.
All he needs to do is just work the steel mill, right, Robbie?
No, the hat makes my head look big. The hat's big.
It's one of them. It's got that perforated hat.
It's like what I told this youngster when he called me bald. I'm not going bald. I'm just getting more head.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to use that when I go bald. I am kind of. All right. Good one, Robbie. I'm gonna have to use that sometime. That's pretty awesome. All right, y'all. Well, let's dive into it, man. I'm sure we got some other people that are gonna come on the show. Welcome. Thanks for all coming in on a Friday. We're excited to talk some football, so let's just dive into it. First game on the docket. Well, not the first game, but the first game I want to talk about that I think is going to get the most attention. We were talking about it off air. Ravens and Bills. Right now, the Ravens are a 1-point favorite over the Bills at home. Monk, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about that, y'all being dogs at home?
It's the first time since 1967 the Bills have been an underdog at home in the playoffs.
Wow.
So
something's got to give, right?
I think it's kind of disrespectful. I can understand where they're coming from to make it the spread close, being that it's in Buffalo, but they destroyed the Bills in the beginning of the season. But that was 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's based on that. I think the fact is that they did get walloped pretty bad in Baltimore, that they made them the dogs. But the game's basically a toss-up. It's a pick-em game.
They don't put in consideration we're missing 3 linebackers and our starting and our all-star nickelback.
Fair.
Taron Johnson was out, and that's a big hit to our defense.
Yeah, and Milano was out too, right?
Yeah. Milano was out. Bernard was out. Dorian Williams was out. That right there is our starter, second string, and third string linebackers in that same position that were all out.
All right, B. Start you off first. Tell me what you think of this matchup and what do you think is going to happen. Just kind of give me your little synopsis.
Really, Buffalo has to stop that run, and they haven't been very good at doing that this season. So that's their main focus in this game. I'd rather you throw all your defense, all your defense into stopping the run and let Lamar beat you in the air. Only because I don't think that Lamar is that great of a passer when it comes down to doing that stuff. You can tell when they play Kansas City, teams that have stopped them in the playoffs have stopped them from running the ball, forcing him to pass. So if you can force Lamar to pass, and whatever, he's doing this and he's doing that, but that's Lamar's Achilles heel. I don't care what. I don't care. He can have the whole
flowers.
The whole
Flowers.
The whole, they were talking about he might come in. Harbaugh said he might be able to play Sunday, so we'll see. But anyway, regardless of the fact, he goes through the whole season with all these accolades about him being able to pass. Well, he's getting help because of the running game.
Right.
And with Henry, almost rushing for 1,900 yards, you're making his life easier. Basically, because he doesn't have to think about he don't have to think about running first. Instead he can just sit back there, and if he has to run, he'll run. Then he can pick your defense apart, because a lot of times if everybody's not they're doing a passing thing, they're not really going against a run, because Henry's is a tank. He'll roll through you, and they don't want to be getting their ass kicked by him. Basically, they're fearful of Henry.
They don't want to make that highlight reel.
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
Hey, Sonia.
So,
hi, guys.
Sonia.
Hi.
We'll just throw you in, Sonia, into the little rotation. Go ahead, B. Keep going.
So yeah, I just think they got to stop the run. They really got to stop the run and force them to pass, be one-dimensional, pass the ball. I think that's really the Achilles heel of Lamar. I mean, as much as they want to talk about how it's always it's a cause and effect for him.
Right.
Like I said, Henry's putting up 1,900 yards this year, so he doesn't really have to do too much, and that's the reason why he's having a great season.
Mm-hmm.
So if Buffalo can do that, I think they can win the game.
I agree. Jay, what do you think? Talk to me.
Well, I know last week I was kind of high on Buffalo, but I think this week their luck runs out. I think Baltimore wins this game. I think the Ravens are a good team. The Ravens are playing really well. We were talking a little bit before the show about how Lamar Jackson has a lot on his shoulders. I think he wants to get over that hump of the stigma of he can't really show up in big games. So he has a lot. And one thing that he hasn't had all the times he's been in the postseason is Derrick Henry. Now, Derrick Henry's going to bring a different dynamic to the offense this game than we've ever seen, right? Like, he's going to be able to do play action, RPO. There's going to be a lot of things that factor into this game. I think that offense is just going to be a little too much for Buffalo's defense. Derrick Henry's averaging 5.9 yards on the ground, and that's really big right now. He's second in the league for rushing yards. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a really big game. If the Ravens offense struggle just a little bit, you can count on Derrick Henry to get the job done. So I think I'm going to go with Baltimore this game.
Okay. All right. Sonia, welcome to the show. Give us your thoughts on this matchup.
Thanks, guys, for having me on, as always. So I actually think that I'm going to second what Jay said. The fact that Lamar has Derrick Henry there as his basically second in command gives him a new, fresh set of legs, takes the run game solely off from Lamar. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the defensive stand from the Bills, because they have actually played pretty good this season. I think this game is going to actually come down to game clock management. It's going to come down to also who has the lesser amount of penalties when the clock hits zero. You don't want to get into a situation where the game is close in the fourth quarter, because that increases the propensity for overtime, and you do not want to go overtime against the Buffalo Bills. That would actually solidify their win. If they can actually be kept off the field, which would mean that Lamar and Henry and all those crew, I mean, they don't have Zay Flowers, I don't think, so they're still going to be dependent on, likely, no pun intended, they would be likely to actually continue on like they did in the last matchup. And with that being said, if they can keep Josh Allen off the field, if you keep keep the quarterback out the field. That's how you keep them from scoring. But Derrick Henry, I do believe, is up for the challenge. He wasn't targeted a lot during the regular season. Only in the last several weeks do we see him get a lot of action. And so I thought I read somewhere where he was getting about 12 yards per carry. I could be incorrect, but I will say nonetheless, 5, 12, whatever it is, it's going to be a detrimental blow to the Buffalo Bills defense, because that gives them an opportunity to be worn absolutely out by the Ravens offense.
All right. Matt, what do you think about it? Talk to me. I know your feelings on who you're rooting for, but tell me what you think.
I'm going to try to be unbiased in this. The heart and soul of the Ravens offense relies on Derrick Henry. You stop him, you got to make Lamar beat you with his arm, because that, you know, when he's back there, that O-line is not good at pass protection. So you got to keep him in the pocket, get him to beat you with your arm, get him to try to like make mistakes, you know, because if he stays mistake free, Buffalo's going to be in trouble. They got to stop Henry. They got to contain Lamar. They can't let him run to his right, get him to run to the left so he gets throw across the body, get him to make some mistakes. And because I don't, and that'll be the key for Buffalo offensively. I don't think the Ravens defense can't contain Josh Allen.
Okay.
And
Monkey, you heard everybody's perception. You're the Buffalo Bills fan. Tell me, how do you stop Lamar Jackson?
I ain't worried about stopping Lamar. It's Derrick Henry. I'm not too like Brian said. It's not like Lamar isn't good at passing. It's just all the time when he's passing, it's not when he has to. It's when they're already up, or when he can make them passes without having to worry about the game being on the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he doesn't do well in the playoffs. The game is on the line and he just folds. Derrick Henry, on the other hand, he's nobody. He when you get hit by Henry, you're gonna feel it for like the next 3 weeks. Now, the game is supposed to be like 8 degrees with a real feel of -3.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna it. Everyone's trying to make it a big production. It really isn't. I just find it hilarious with the John Harbaugh interview and what he said about the cold weather and how he's doing what he's doing to get prepared. But
you having to go through a freezer or what?
Oh no, he was asked if he was practicing outside, and he said no, it's too cold for that. They're practicing indoors and turning the water off that heats up the field, so the field will be cold.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
No. You said you're not afraid of Lamar Jackson. I would be concerned about Lamar Jackson. I'll tell you why. Because Lamar Jackson is one of the most electrifying runners in space, probably one of the fastest guys on the field. On top of that, when you talk about Derrick Henry, there's a thing called a read option. And that is one thing that Lamar and Henry can kill your defense with, is read options. And so you have to respect Lamar Jackson. And then on top of that, Lamar Jackson's been throwing some of the best he's been in his career this year. Now, we haven't seen in the playoffs as much, but, you know, he's shown that he could throw the ball. So I understand Henry is the heart and soul of what they want to do, just like, you know, we'll talk about the Eagles and Saquon. But you have to respect Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's gonna make plays. He's no different than Josh Allen. He's gonna put.
I mean no disrespect to him. I don't mean no disrespect to him. He's. Right. I don't like watching boring football games. I can't stand watching teams that do that dink and dunk and stuff. I don't like it. I like watching the Ravens play games every year. I like watching Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs play. Even though I can't stand them, I still like watching them play because I respect their game and they're entertaining to watch. You could hate the team all you want. They're still entertaining to watch. That's just like the Patriots. Everybody fucking hated the Patriots, but I guarantee you all watched them, especially in the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
Sure.
You know? But
you root against them.
Right.
I know I did.
But Lamar's big leap forward this year was because of how crucial that run game is. They got to bring people up into the box now because they're not just worried about Lamar taking off. They got to worry about Derrick Henry too. So that lets their receivers get open more. Lamar is also like Allen, where he extends the plays, which is also another reason why receivers get open. Bills receivers get open the same reason.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think you have to crush the pocket with Lamar, and that's hard to do because he can slip out of those.
Right.
He can slip out of those very quickly and run downfield. It's a tough task, but I think we can all agree it starts with the running game, regardless.
He's
Whether
more
it's Lamar,
slippery than
whether it's
Noah
Henry. I like that. Ken, welcome to the show. We're talking about the Ravens and Bills. Give us your assessment or your thoughts. Sorry about the Green Bay.
Oh, this
Not
is
really.
probably going to be very. Yeah. Yeah, it happens, unfortunately, but hey, there's always
There's
next
always next
year.
year.
But
Exactly.
anyway, to Bills and Ravens, I think the Bills and Ravens game is going to be the game of the week with how well both teams are performing. They both looked real good in the last playoff game. This is going to be one hard matchup for Buffalo because of Derrick Henry and Lamar. And Lamar's out there throwing frozen ropes.
Mhm.
So I don't think they're going to be able to just, we'll lock down on the run part of it and make Lamar beat us through the air. He's showing this year he can most certainly beat you through the air too. So Josh Allen's going to have to throw on his Superman cape. And with me saying that, I'm still rooting for the Bills for this one.
Okay. One person I don't think none of us has mentioned, and Monkey, you'll smile when I say this, James Cook. I think James Cook is going to be a big factor for y'all against that Ravens defense, because if y'all can get running just like the Ravens, if James Cook can run the football effectively on that Ravens defense, that makes Josh Allen even more dangerous with all his weapons.
And he really doesn't have to be all that effective, though. He just needs to be able to get, an average 3 yards. He needs to get them tough yards, them 3 yards that we need, or whatever the case may be, something like that. And as long
Ty
as
Johnson's
he can
also
help,
been good too for y'all.
right? I have been one of his biggest critics. I have never liked Ty Johnson. I'm telling you, I'm pissed every year the Bills kept him, and until this year, and it's like, okay, I'll stop talking shit now. But that's just like Lamar Jackson. I used to talk shit about Lamar Jackson when he first started because, just like everybody else said, he's a fucking running back. He doesn't like to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I used to say the same thing. Well, the last few years, he's proven me wrong. So you can go look back and through all the history of any kind of messages I left or talk shit about it. That is not one thing I talk shit about him about.
It's true.
That was Robbie's. That was Robbie's forte for the
What?
Yeah, James Cook is going to have
Lamar
to
RB.
Oh.
That dude. Yeah. Good running back.
Go ahead, Sonia. What were you saying about James Cook?
Yeah, I was just saying he's already had like 16 touchdowns. That's almost averaging a touchdown for every week of play. So you're going to have to really isolate him. Yeah, and before you brought it up, I was actually thinking of bringing him up next, but I was waiting for the conversation to pivot because, people are so big on talking about the pairing of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry that they absolutely are overlooking Josh Allen and the blessing he has of having Cook there. I mean, they are just as formidable on the field, just as comparable, and just as much a danger to the Ravens as vice versa.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time the Bills had a legit running back, probably since Thurman
McCoy.
Thomas.
Oh yeah, LaShawn McCoy. Yep.
Willis McGahee. CJ Spiller had a few good years when we had Greg Roman as our OC.
But I think, but the reason why I said Thurman Thomas is because I think that James Cook is a really good running back. I think he's a top 10 running back in this NFL, could be higher. Like he looks a lot like his brother. The speed, the
stuff
jump
that he
cut.
does, the stuff that he does, I haven't seen since Thurman Thomas days. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Most of our other running backs that were shifty like him, like even Shady McCoy, we got him towards the end of his career. I mean, it's not like we got him in his prime. Now, watching Shady over in Philly, that was a different story, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about being in Buffalo. Right. He was great in Buffalo, but he wasn't like, oh my God, look at, like he's our future. James Cook, we drafted him. We're starting from the floor up.
Yeah,
something.
It's fun to watch.
Go ahead, Jay.
really quick, I want to say that I think Buffalo's going to have a really hard time running on that defensive front against the Baltimore Ravens, because the Ravens only let the opposing running backs average 3.6 yards per carry, and they only give
That
up
is
like
a
13
big line.
yards. I think that's going to be like a big thing for them to be able to establish their run. Now, if Buffalo is able to establish their run and pass as well, I do think they have a better shot at winning. So I think that it's going to be very hard to get Ty Johnson and James Cook going. It's not impossible, but I don't think I've seen Baltimore in this position. They seem a little bit compromised right now. Being a home dog, having Baltimore come to your place and being a dog, I think that's like already a knock against you right there.
Right. And to piggyback on what you were saying too, I also think that the aggressiveness of Baltimore's defense, because they're going to bring aggression, they're going to bring blitzes on Josh Allen. They're going to try to get him uncomfortable and try to bring him down. Joe Brady's ability to use his running backs like he did against us when AG would bring the house or tried to bring pressure, and he was able to find mismatches with the linebackers. I think you're going to see some of that too, because you've got two running backs in Ty Johnson and James Cook that you can utilize heavily on the pass game. And if Josh Allen does a guy thing downfield, he's going to go those checkdowns, or he's going to go to those short routes. And so that's going to be interesting to see how both coordinators adjust to that, you know?
So I can't remember what podcast I was listening to. It was rather First Take or, Bustin' with the Boy, or one of them. And they were saying that the weak link of the defense of the Ravens is their tight end coverage. But so is the Bills. So,
yeah,
they kind of wipe each other out. But I thought that was interesting because I thought they were better against the tight ends than what they said they were. They said they were like bottom 5 teams against the tight end or something. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong.
Matt Milano's back, right, Kev?
They're gonna.
Yeah, we have every single person on the 53-man roster. They're all healthy.
You got to take into account the first time these teams played, Buffalo was missing key linebackers.
We had Matt Milano, we had Dorian Williams, and we had Terrell Bernard. They were all out, plus Taron Johnson.
Yeah, Taron Johnson.
Not even to mention the injuries we had on our offense.
Go ahead, B.
So a little bit of a fact that Buffalo's offensive line is the only offensive line that's been playing together the whole season.
Wow, that's good.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And AG and AG, to your case about when they were playing Buffalo and they exposed the the linebackers, we had weak linebackers.
Very true.
Baltimore does not have weak linebackers. Roquan Smith is a dog, so they won't be doing none of that.
I love their defense.
But they're gonna test those linebackers. That's what I'm trying to say. Is they're gonna test those. We'll see who wins.
They better extend those routes going across before they do that, because I'm telling you, those linebackers are twice the dogs that we had at linebackers at the time.
Oh, fair.
And don't get me wrong. I did in the beginning of the season, before the season started, I picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. I thought it was going to be a Ravens-Lions Super Bowl. So it's not like I'm underestimating the Ravens at all.
Yeah, right.
But you're never going to get me to sit there and say, "Oh, I think we may lose this game." But I will tell you, it can go either way. It can go either way.
That's why the line is 1.
General consensus is anyway is going to go either way.
Yeah, that's why the line is 1 point. It's literally a pick 'em game. One thing I will say that I think the difference in this game is going to be is who plays more hero ball, because you've got 2 Supermen on both teams, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. And both quarterbacks, if they want to, they can take over the game themselves. My thing is who's going to try to be more of the hero and not play within the team and possibly make the mistakes that are going to cost the game. Because one of them's going to do it, because everything's on the line. There's no tomorrow. You're playing balls out all game, period. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so I think that's going to have to be Josh Allen, because Lamar Jackson don't have to do that. Lamar Jackson doesn't have to do that. Like I said a couple minutes before, you got Derrick Henry now you can lean on. He don't have to go out there and put on his cape and say, "Hey, I'm going to save the day," because pick your poison. You're going to make a business decision on tackling Derrick Henry. You're going to let Lamar Jackson which one you want.
Yeah.
So
it's a tough call.
Yeah, Buffalo's struggling on the run defense, aren't they?
Yeah, they always struggle on the run defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
did good against us. They did
Well,
good against us.
It's because we're small. We're not. We don't have a big line. We play a nickel defense for one, and I mean, anyone who plays Madden can tell you that you see nickel, you run the fucking ball. I mean, it's kind of
prevent defense.
I mean,
that actually
understand
shuts the run down in Madden
just
now.
a video game, but same concept. I mean, they even tell you, if you're running, if you see a nickel, you want to run that ball because you have better chances of getting
less linemen, more run. That's the way it's always been.
Because you only got 2 linebackers with 4 linemen. The rest are DBs.
With how the weather's shaping up, the run game is going to be huge in this game between the Ravens and the Bills.
Especially if there's wind and all that.
Rather it's the running backs or
benefit. That's a benefit for Derrick Henry, to be honest with you, because it hurts enough when you get plowed over by Derrick Henry. But now that it's freaking freezing and he's
going to hurt even worse.
Right. But my thing is,
Baltimore's the number 1 rushing defense.
One at a time.
I think they're underestimating this whole weather thing, because if you go from what was Lamar's coldest game, like 23 degrees, there's a big difference between 23 degrees and 8 degrees with a real feel of -3. The difference is you walk outside, your eyeballs feel like they froze, and the insides of your nose is fucking frozen.
Yeah, you want to get back inside as soon
you
as
feel
possible.
like you feel like your lungs are like gonna shatter.
Yeah,
it's
ahead,
not
man.
nice. It's not fun.
Finish this up. Go ahead.
Go
ahead. Whatever your point was.
No, I was just talking about how the cold weather is going to play a huge factor in this game, and the Ravens got the number 1 rushing defense, so it's going to be tougher. That's going to
be whoever runs better. I think is going to win the game too.
For Buffalo, I think it's going to come down to Josh Allen's legs more than who's their running back?
James Cook.
James Cook. Yeah, it's going to come down. It's going to come down to Josh Allen's legs more than I think Cook's.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get our predictions. You don't have to give the score. I'm just going to go around and tell me who's going to win, or you can give a prediction, whatever, or a wild take. I don't care. B, start with you.
I got Buffalo in this by a field goal. I mean, it's such a close game, but for either side, it could be a field goal game for each one of the teams. I mean, I know that's a cliche saying. A lot of people use that. But the 2 teams are kind of evenly matched. I don't stat wise, I don't look at anything but third down percentage and red zone percentages when it comes to offense versus defense. So, I mean, both of them are pretty close on either end, and that's what's going to determine the game. How they run the ball. It's going to be cold there. It's in Buffalo Stadium. Buffalo hasn't lost a home game all season. So, I mean, it could come down to a field goal either way.
All right,
but I'll give the edge to Buffalo because it's in Buffalo.
All right, we got 1 Buffalo. Go ahead, Jay.
Give me Baltimore by a field goal. I think it's going to be a close game, game, but I think they're going to fight to the bitter end. But I think that Baltimore is just going to be overwhelming them with their running game. I think Derrick Henry's really just going to be that determining factor. So give me Baltimore.
All right, we got 1 Baltimore. Son, you want to break that tie?
God. This is just a game that can literally go either way. And so I feel like as much as I want to say one team, then I'm just like mentally thinking about the other. I will say this. This is the season that Lamar gets to prove that he is not a postseason failure, so to speak. He always, he never makes it to the big game. And so Baltimore is like, okay, you're not going to make it to the big game. You're doing all the runs yourself. We're going to get you some help. We're going to bring in Derrick Henry. Now, what's your excuse? So as a quarterback, as a leader of the team, as commander of respect of the locker room, I want to say Baltimore because Lamar is going to be like, all right, this whole thing is on my back. They gave me the help I needed. I'm not going to show that I'm a failure this time because if I do, then it's all on me. So I got Baltimore. not by a field goal. I have them. I have them by 7. I'm gonna give them a whole touchdown.
Nice.
Okay. All right, so we got 2
All right.
Baltimore, 1 Buffalo. Go ahead, Matt. Oh, we know. I know where you're going.
Yeah, it ain't no secret. I ain't picking the Ravens, motherfucker.
All right. All right.
But I got
So-
Baltimore. I got the Bills winning 21-10. I don't think they stop Josh Allen's legs or his arm. And Buffalo got a sneaky good wide receiver core.
21 to 10.
21-10.
Dang.
You're giving an old Panthers.
Matt's gonna call you the Mad Matt, we're gonna have to call you the Mad Hatter.
Literally.
Pun intended.
Oh yeah, you see all my. That's it. That's just some of my hats.
Yeah.
If
All
the
right.
Ravens scored 10 points, they deserve to lose.
Yeah.
All right, Kev, what you got?
Yo,
Or Ken.
Well, obviously, I'm going to say the Bills are going to win, but I think it's sort of to be like 21-17.
21.
And
You know,
I
you gotta
think
take.
my take is that Taron Johnson has another pick 6 in the game, like he did the last time they played in the divisional round.
Okay. I actually was saving you to last. I was talking to Ken, but that's okay. You gave me.
Oh, my bad.
I knew where you were going. I was gonna throw something.
I was just
That's
following
all right.
the squares here.
It's all good. Hey, I'm the director. I'm leading the orchestra here. I got you. All right, Ken, what you got?
oh, I already said it before. I'm going Buffalo, and I'm going to say this game's going to be so close, it's going to be decided by the 1 point.
All right, I like that. All right, and then finally, me. I love this cliche. Monkey, you'll appreciate it. No one circles the wagons better than the Buffalo Bills. I definitely think that Buffalo is going to come out and play well. It's going to be a great game. I actually think it could go to overtime and be determined in overtime because I think both teams are just going to play balls out, and it's just not going to be able to be determined in the 4 quarters. So I think this could go to extra. But I think Buffalo, Josh Allen, a lot of momentum. Just like Detroit, 2 hungry teams that have never been to Super Bowl or have been to Super Bowl but haven't got it there and won it. Really hungry, and I don't think anything's going to get in the way of Josh Allen getting there. So I got Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills winning, probably by a field goal, more likely.
Wow.
All right.
You guys
All right.
gotta have me back on after the game so we could talk about that.
Oh, yeah, for
Like
sure.
no matter
Definitely.
what happens, I'd love to come back.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back, too.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Yeah,
You mean like
so-
last week when people were picking Denver to win?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, no.
That was not me. I hate Denver.
Denver looked good for a half.
I hate Denver.
I had to say
You looked
something,
good for a half.
especially when someone else brought it up while talking about this week, next week. I had to say something.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Denver looked good for a half, man. I mean, but I knew Buffalo was going to blow them out.
Man,
Not even a half. They let it go
Shit,
for
I
one
wouldn't
play,
even
and
put
that-
them half. I'd say they look good for their opening
It
drive.
was close. The game. What was
One
it?
good, hey, Denver had one good drive.
Oh, the game was pretty
That
close
was-
at half.
Denver's good in Denver, playing regular season games, and that's where they need to stay right now. Where they're still rebuilding. They did better than what we thought, considering they got a rookie
Bo
quarterback.
Nix is a good quarterback.
Well,
They got
the
the
right
right
he
focus
quarterback.
on that when
got
they come
me
back
like-
from Cancun.
Yeah, he got me like 62 points in fantasy one weekend. Bo
Dang.
Nix
Yeah.
was lights out.
Me too.
All right, we're gonna stick with the AFC and then we'll go NFC. The next matchup we have is KC versus the Texans in Arrowhead. KC has been off for almost 30 days,
Yeah.
and Texans a hard-fought belt whooping to the Chargers. Just tore apart Justin Herbert, took his soul away and everything. That defense played lights out. Anderson, Hunter, who's out of the cornerback outside of Stingley? I forgot his name. Lassiter and Stingley just locked down corners. D'Amico's got him playing at a high level. So let's talk about it. B, give me your thoughts on what you think this matchup's going to look like.
Well, it's kind of funny. I mean,
What's funny?
you got to look at it like this. Kansas City, they're a Super Bowl repeated, 2-time Super Bowl winner. Okay.
Mhm.
And this isn't the first time they've been a number 1 seed. And this isn't the first time they've waited a long time either to play a game. So, good teams don't worry about the time off. They're going to play, and they're coming to play. And
Do you expect him to be rusty at all? I mean, 30 days is 30 days.
I mean, the only thing I think about Kansas City this whole year, this whole season for them has been it's been hard to watch offensively. Their defense has been pretty pat, but their offense is like getting away with stuff. And they haven't been really a solid offensive team the whole season. And they've still been winning though. And I just think that if you apply pressure, and people are not giving Houston enough credit, you got them two ends, Hunter and the Rook. Well, he's a sophomore now, but you get them guys were killing the Chargers, and the Chargers don't have a bad offensive line. They really don't. They're a better offensive line than I think Kansas City is right now. So
Kansas City had to move their players around. They got Tooney now playing at tackle. Watch out for that.
They have to really watch out for the fact that those ends can come in on them. And I mean, the whole defensive line is playing really well right now for Houston. So with that and the fact that the offensive line for Kansas City isn't malaligned, and Patrick Mahomes isn't having one of his stellar seasons. But then again, it's Kansas City. When they get in the playoffs, they hit a switch. It's like they hit a switch. So, I mean, this is going to be a closer game than people think it is. The eight and a half spread that they're giving Kansas City, that's way too much. I'm sorry, that's way too much. Especially with that offense being the way it is for Kansas City. I mean, they might have the switch going, and they'll probably win the game. I'll say they'll win the game, but it's going to be close. It's going to be at least. I think this is going to be a field goal game too.
All right, Jay, talk to me.
Well, I'm going with Kansas City, and reason being is because I think the experience is going to play a factor in this. We just talked about how subpar Kansas City offense has been really all season, but they're still 15-2. That's just to let you know that they're still playing good football. Defense is playing really well, and Patrick Mahomes, he's not having the MVP season we expect him to have, but he still is Patrick Mahomes. He still has a lot of tools in his arsenal that he can use to win this game. And I don't see how Houston can go into Kansas City as an 8-point dog and pull off an upset. You're missing Tank Dell. You're missing Stephon Diggs. They're missing quite a few pieces on that offense. And I just don't see them being able to score on Kansas City's defense as much as people may think they can. C.J. Stroud is still learning. C.J. Stroud is in his second year, and he's learning to win without his weapons. He's learning to win what type of quarterback he really is. And we know the team the Chiefs are. We know how Patrick Mahomes plays. One thing he does really well when Rasheen Rice went down, when some of his offensive players went down, one thing he leaned on very heavily was Travis Kelce. Isaiah Pacheco's back. Isaiah Pacheco's
Hollywood Brown's back.
Really well. Hollywood Brown is back. So I think that it's going to be a close scoring game, but I do think that Kansas City can pull it off, maybe like between a 4-6 point win. But I think that Kansas City's defense is going to be too strong. You got Karlaftis. You got Chris Jones. You got Trey. You have a lot of good people. So I think the Houston Texans get humbled this week.
It's a good point. Ms. Sonia, what do you think?
So I'm going to pick the Texans on this one, and I'm going to tell you why. Carolina played Kansas City and almost beat them. And this is before Bryce turned his season around. We had a lot of penalties, a lot of drop balls, everything, and we still almost beat them. And I always say it's the chefs and the refs. There was a story a while back that came out where there was a certain referee that every game he reffed, Kansas City magically won the game. I've never been sold on how Kansas City plays ball, not last season, not the season before. Patrick Mahomes' passes always look very sloppy. He almost has what they call the football gods there to make sure somebody's there to receive them, because he just looks like he just throws Hail Marys every single time. And I mean, that's just always been my opinion. I've always said that. And they magically get into the playoffs, and they do hit a switch when they get into the playoffs, because they're like, oh God, we're here, guys. Now let's play the way we're supposed to be playing. every game. Well, there was a lot of games they played this season, nearby losses. A whole bulk of them. I don't even want to waste you guys' time. Everybody knows one score games or less. And anytime you have a season where there are a lot of one score games where you've won, then you need to be using the off season to try to capitalize and make sure that you are playing all 4 quarters. As the same could be true if you have all those games that you're missing by one score game, like the Panthers were in 2014. We had half our season one score games. We came back the next season undefeated because we decided to play all 4 quarters. This is what Kansas City's doing. They're not playing all 4 quarters. They get to the postseason and they're finally playing 4 quarters. And that's why everybody finds that they are hard to beat. The only way that Kansas City pulls this off is Joe Mixon is questionable. He's been questionable. That's a key player. They have a key source that they got down there from the Bengals, and he's been a huge asset. Additionally, the Texans were 2-1 though without him. So it's almost like he's been playing through these injuries, and without him, they actually play better. CJ Stroud,
he's gonna play. He's gonna play, but he won't be 100%.
Yeah, he's not. That's what I'm saying. Like either way, it's kind of like you go to school sick. You're still not 100% well. You just need to go back to school. And so these players are still going to suit up. This could be their last game for the season. Why would they not suit up if they couldn't do it?
Exactly.
But also Robert Woods, Aziz Al-Shahir, and Tegan Kitturano is also questionable because none of them practiced, and so that's a huge blow, as well as CJ Stroud is suffering from this sophomore slump. However, there's always a David and Goliath. If the Chiefs come out there cocky like they have been, we're getting ready to do a three-peat, and Patrick Mahomes just became a new daddy, so he's been home with this baby, and he got this baby within the last week or two. He may be sleep deprived like Cam Newton was, and it may be beneficial to the Texans.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I think the long rest, we're going to see early on. I think there's going to be a lot of rust with the Chiefs. And if the Texans can take advantage early on and get on them early, we'll see what happens, see how quick they wake up. But if the Texans can't take advantage, Chiefs will wake up and just blow them out.
I say this too. Everybody's talking about questionable and they're not 100%. Ain't nobody 100%.
Exactly.
Nobody's 100%. So that doesn't apply to nothing.
Everybody's playing on you.
Bills are. Every person on the Bills 53-man roster is
they're all playing. I guarantee it ain't 100% though.
Yeah, you better knock on wood. You better knock on wood on that one. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sonia. And just one thing to add to that, Sonia, the Bills have the worst point differential. So that proves your point that they don't win they win the close games because they barely beat them. They have the lowest point differential compared to the Lions, who have the highest point differential. So just take that for what it's worth.
Yep, I didn't even get to that. I saw that somewhere and I forgot. So thanks for that memory.
Yeah, no worries. Matt, go ahead.
Al-Shahir there is also going to be playing, is what I heard.
Yeah, they're all going to play. They're
just not practicing. Yeah, limited.
Go ahead, Matt Hatter.
I don't think the Texans stand a chance in this game. When they played them in Week 16, they're tied for 4th sacks in the NFL. They only sacked Mahomes one time and did not disrupt that time-based rhythm offense. So I don't think this is going to be a game at all. I think Houston gets blown out.
Okay. Matt, I'm going to throw this question to you because I'm going to predict that the Buffalo Bills will win this game, like I said on the last matchup. Who would you rather face, the Texans or the Chiefs?
Me? Who would I rather face?
I'm sorry, not Matt. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Monkey. I keep calling Mad Monkey. Sorry, I get y'all confused. Monkey.
Okay, that's even the funny part about that is my other name that I use is Mad Monkey.
Okay. So don't do that.
It does catch me every time you call him Mad. I keep looking like, huh? But anyway, honestly, we beat the Chiefs. We lost against the Texans, but then again, we have problems with the Chiefs in the playoffs. So I guess I would tell you I really don't give a shit which one we're playing because I'm looking for a revenge game on the Houston Texans now that we're fully fucking healthy and they're not, so we're in reverse situations. and the Chiefs because I want the Bills to prove that we can beat them in the playoffs as well as during the regular season.
Fair enough. Ken. what's
All
your take?
right. I'll give you mine, and then I'm going to keep it a little short and sweet because I got to get off and do my show here.
No worries.
Same.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to say, I really want the Texans to win this one just because, like Brady, I'm getting a little tired of seeing Mahomes there at the end of it with the championship. But like Sonia said, there's this one referee that makes sure somehow that Kansas City wins those games. And guess who's the referee for this game?
That particular
Exactly.
one.
Uh-huh. I think the Texans are going to put a bit of points on them in the beginning of the game to where it'll look like, maybe the Texans can actually do this. But once it gets towards that fourth quarter, you're going to have some shenanigan going on that, it was a close penalty, even though everybody can see that it wasn't. And Mahomes will get unlimited chances at the end zone.
Oh,
So I guess give me
No
a
excuse.
Bills Chiefs AFC Championship.
Yeah, I think with Stroud, for me, he's had a down year. I don't care what anybody says. He had a very high rookie year, and kind of like Jordan Love, he came down to earth. We kind of figured it was going to happen. Teams have more tape on you. They have all off season how to play you, and they know your tendencies and all that. So we expected some quarterbacks to go down and have a slump a little bit. CJ Stroud can wipe that all away with a victory this week. There's no doubt about that. And the thing with CJ Stroud is I need to see CJ Stroud throw more from the pocket. I need him to be more accurate, more poised in the pocket, because I feel like sometimes he gets happy feet and he kind of tries to run out of the pocket or tries to throw off platform, and it leads to interceptions or it leads to bad throws. And there's no doubt that Spagnuolo is going to bring a lot of heat to CJ Stroud. So CJ Stroud's got to find those hot routes very quickly. And if it's not there, check down to Mixon or somebody else. But I need to see more from CJ Stroud. I know what Patrick Mahomes is going to bring to the table.
Well, let me rebuttal that, because the reason why CJ Stroud is having the problems that he is.
Thanks, Ken.
All right,
have a
Ken.
good night.
Have a good one,
If
man.
you're about to,
guys.
okay. Take care, Sonia. Come back
All
to see
right.
us.
All right,
Guys, check me
Sonia.
out at
Bye,
9.
Sonia.
Yeah,
Bye,
no
guys.
problem.
All right.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Yeah, if you're off the bounce, just let us know. Just FYI, so we can get you. Go ahead.
So the rebuttal to that is their offensive line has been pretty messed up this year.
It's fair. That's very
And
true.
this is the reason why I say CJ. Last year they had a pretty good offensive line. It's pretty solid. They were able to keep him, and he is a good. In the game that they beat the Chargers, he made a couple of key point plays in that game by his feet and by making plays happen. Kind of Lamar-esque in a way. Kind of the same way we're going to be getting to talk about that Jaden Daniels is. So, Stroud is a good quarterback. Whether you want to call him mid or not, it has nothing to do with him he's a good quarterback. You got to have an offensive line.
He's not elite. That's what I'm saying. He's not an elite player.
He's only in his second year.
But B, here's my argument. If they're elite or they're special, you see it early on. And we'll talk about Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels is that guy. Like, you see it already.
This is his first year. Stroud did the same thing in his first year. I don't know what the point you're trying to make.
The point I'm trying to make is that I've seen more in Jaden Daniels his first year than I saw with Stroud. Stroud played well, but I didn't see those intangibles that Jaden Daniels has right now. That's all I'm saying. But we can debate that.
He's just a fresh guy on the block.
You know,
That's all Jaden Daniels is.
I would say, I think actually CJ Stroud is doing, pretty well for, being in his second year.
He's a good quarterback. There's no doubt.
Losing the players.
He just hit a sophomore slump, is what it is.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yards with two of their number one receivers going down, and Nico Collins was out for a little bit. So they faced a lot of injuries, and CJ Stroud stayed afloat while he didn't look like the best quarterback in the league. He still had a solid.
But I think they leaned a lot on the defense too. If the defense isn't that good, I don't know how Stroud's in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that defense is playing lights out. They're really good.
Of course, but if you put any quarterback in the position that CJ Stroud was in, I don't know how many of them would be able to stay afloat like Stroud did. I mean, as a Michigan guy that hate all Ohio State players, I can say that I give a lot of respect to CJ Stroud because he's done a lot with that team. And I mean,
but to be let's be honest too. He has Joe Mixon. He has Joe Mixon this year too. So he was expected to have be even better.
Good.
And Joe Mixon hasn't been playing every game either.
Yeah.
And it's a direct result for the offensive line. Offensive lines make teams and they make their quarterbacks. Jared Goff is a prime example of how your offensive line makes your quarterback better. Okay. Sure. Sam Darnold, another reason why if your offensive line is shit, you're going to play like shit. And Sam Darnold showed that in a game that was important for them to get a number one seed in the game they were in the playoffs. That offensive line just fucking folded. And when that happens, you can't, everybody wants to blame the quarterback about that situation. It ain't all his fault. There's 11 other guys out there on the field with him.
Well,
if 5 of those guys ain't blocking, he can't do shit.
Well, I'll say this. If we want to put CJ Stroud in that elite conversation going forward, he's got to make some elite plays in this game.
Well, first of all, nobody's calling him elite.
Yeah,
a lot of people were calling him last year before the season started. They were talking about him being a top 5.
I didn't think he was elite last year.
I'm just telling you, there were people out there. No, there were analysts. People were talking about how high this guy was, just like Love. They build Love up too.
They always got picked so out of the draft to build up. He was a clear front runner in that draft. So they're oh my God, he's amazing. Blah blah blah.
But what I'm saying is that if he wants to be in that conversation as the top tier quarterbacks, he's got to have a top tier type of game. He's going to have to really play to a high level, whether it's throwing the ball, whether it's running the ball. Listen, who cares about their O-line? I mean, if you can run, you can get out of the pocket. I mean, look at Jaden Daniels. I think his O-line's worse than fucking the Texans' O-line, and the guy still finds ways to escape. So, but the thing about CJ Stroud is that CJ Stroud's more of a pass-run guy. He passes first to run. Jaden Daniels is probably more of a runner to pass type of dude. So, we'll see what happens.
I don't know, but really quick, I think a lot of people use that term elite kind of loosely because when I look at an elite quarterback, I look at a quarterback that can actually carry their team. It's only 3. Excuse me. It's only 3 quarterbacks that I've seen this season that's elite. And when I say elite, they're able to carry their team that no matter what their circumstances are, they still find ways to win. One being Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. Everybody else has been like really good. Like you said, Jared Goff, as much as we love him here, I don't believe he's just elite, like, just the best quarterback. Because if a few of his pieces go down, we've seen how that works.
Well, he's also not a mobile.
He's not going to win you a game.
Yeah,
he's not going to win you a game. He's not going to lose you a game. That's Jared Goff.
Exactly.
But like when we get to the Washington Detroit, we got some more accolades for Jaden. But like I said, CJ Stroud, he's a product of he's a second year. I didn't consider him to be going above that. I knew sophomore slumps happen to quarterbacks more than they do any other player in the league. So any type of position in the league. So I expected him to come down to earth. And on top of that, the offensive line, like I said, has been shady. Mixon hasn't been playing every game. He's lost a whole bunch of receivers at one time. So, I mean, you got to give him credit for that they're in the playoffs with all that adversity going on. They have a very good coach in DeMarco. He's awesome. So, hey.
They always say with young quarterbacks, the third year is when you really see the potential of the quarterback. Because the first year is kind of the anomaly because you don't know what's going to happen in year 2. And then year 2 is really where everybody's got tape on you. Everybody knows what you're about to be. And then the third year is like, okay, we know your tendencies. We know what you're about. How did you change your game? How did you make yourself better than these other quarterbacks? So really, what I guess what I'm trying to say is Stroud, if he can start his getting off point of next year by winning this game or playing really well. I don't think they're going to win this game just because I think the Chiefs just find ways to win, just like the Lions. They find ways to win. But I want to see a good game from Stroud. I don't want to see picks. I don't want to see sacks. I want to see throwing the ball downfield, moving your team, being poised in the pocket, taking Spagnuolo's blitzes and picking them apart as best as possible. I want to see the maturity from CJ Stroud in this game because that'll catapult him into next year when he's got Tank Dell healthy again, and he's got Nico Collins, and he's got Stephon Diggs and all the boys. So, but let's do this. So everybody is taking the Chiefs, right? All the way?
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Sweet. Cool. All right.
I still
Let's
think
move
the
on
Texans might have a little bit of a fight in them though with that 30 days. I don't like that resting. That's way too much rest for the Chiefs.
We'll find. I mean, B did make a good point. They have done that in the past, so most teams will not rest their players that long. We'll see. You know, as your players get older, you need to have them more fresh and more ready to go. You know, you need them sharp. But you know, they had some injuries. Mahomes had that ankle injury, so he had to recover from that. Travis Kelce's over near 40 years old. So, you know, they needed that rest, and Hollywood Brown got back and all that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's all about coaches. And coaches,
too.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why Kansas City is always in a position. Andy Reid's a great ass coach, just like Dan Gamble. They'll get their players.
I just think they're going to start off a little sluggish. Is all. I don't think I don't think they're going to lose. I just think it's going to be close, probably in the first half, and by the second half,
just a close. I don't think it's going to be an 8.5 point win though.
Yeah, we'll see.
No.
I don't think it's going to be close. I think that the Texans keep with them in the first half, just like the Bills game and the Denver game. They keep with them in the first half, play with them a little bit, and then the second half they blow them out. I really think if the Chiefs want to make a statement, because everybody's been talking about how their offense is shit, how they look bad, how they keep games too close, they don't blow teams out. I think the Chiefs are out to make a statement, but we'll see. Let's get on to the Rams and go ahead. What?
Oh no, I didn't say anything.
Okay, let's get on to the. Oh, you're good. Okay, let's get on to the Rams and Eagles. Rams go to Philadelphia. It's going to be snowing. We know Stafford plays horrible in bad weather temperatures. Saquon Barkley is healthy and running crazy. The last game they played him, Saquon had over 255 yards rushing, including two 70-yard runs. So talk to me, B. What do you think?
You could throw that game out the window. Any game that you play in a regular season, throw out the window because.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, but still, 255 yards nothing to sniff on. That's pretty impressive.
You want to keep going after Stafford? I'm gonna tell you something right now. Jalen Hurts ain't that good either.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree with you.
Stafford's better. Stafford's better than Jalen Hurts, and I would take the veteran quarterback over here. And he has Cooper Kupp, and he has Puka, and he has Higbee, and he has a good offensive line. I really think that this is going to come down to whoever can run the ball better. And hey, that little Karen Williams, don't count him out. That dude's an underrated running back.
Yeah, he's banged up, but he's going to play. But go ahead. Did you want anything else, B, on that?
Well, I'm going to see. This is going to be a game for Philadelphia. I think all the cards are in Philadelphia. They got to play well. Because they didn't look that great against Green Bay, and Green Bay was half dead in that game. So if you can't play well against a half dead team, you know, and the Rams are coming off of beating a snot out of the Vikings. I mean, a snot. 9 sacks. That's the first time it's ever been done in a playoff game.
They dominate that game. Yep. Literally domination.
So, you know, the only difference in this game that's going to make it. But the Eagles have a good offensive line. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league.
Yes. And
that's going to be a problem for the defense. So what's going to have to – Stafford's going to have to use his veteran ability and read blitzes because Philadelphia is going to send people and on the defense. It's going to be an offensive game. I'm going to tell you that right now because there's nobody's stopping the offenses right now, I don't think. Okay. But I do have Philadelphia winning only because it's in Philadelphia. So,
okay, Jay, what you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a close game as well. I think that Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp, I think they're going to have a field day with that Philadelphia secondary because you've seen they're a little bit vulnerable. Even though they have Quinyon Mitchell, they have Lancashire, they have Darius Slay back there, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They got a couple good players, but we know Matthew Stafford can swing the ball and
get it out quick.
Yeah, their Philadelphia's defense just looked a little bit suspect, and they just lost Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean tore a tendon.
That's a huge loss.
Tendon, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So I think that they're going to be a little bit aggressive. I think Kyrie Williams may get a couple good runs. He may break out and put the Rams offense in a better position to score. Ultimately, I will choose the Philadelphia Eagles to win by a touchdown because there's one determining factor. I know this guy's going to show up every single game. And that's Saquon Barkley. As long as you got Saquon out there, I think Saquon is going to do wonders, man. You seen what he did to the Packers last week. I mean, he could have even gotten away with a bigger run right before the game was over. He said, no, I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to risk getting injured, baby. You know,
can we talk? Can we talk about that real quick? Because I watched the Herd. I've been listening to Herd like the last couple of days, and they brought up that point, and I want to talk about that because you're Saquon Barkley. You're one of the best running backs in the NFL, right? We can agree on that. If you're still fearing getting hurt, is that a mental thing?
Mm-hmm.
I
Most
think
definitely.
it was. But I also think it was just the fact of, you know what? We don't have to rub salt in their wounds. We won this game. Let's get out of here.
I can buy that narrative, but he said literally, I didn't want to get hurt or something could happen. When you live in fear, that's what happens.
That's not living in fear. That though, listen to the way he says it though. Don't take it out of context. The way he speaks.
But he said that
I went to school. I went to school and
get hurt.
Learned to read people. But anyway, when he speaks about it, he's talking about it as in he acknowledges the fact that this shit can happen and then it does happen because it has happened. And what is the point of going out there and risking it when you don't have to, when you want to? The ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl.
But you can't think that way as a player, you know?
But that's putting the team ahead of yourself. The game's already in the bag. Why would you? Why?
And I
yards ain't gonna do shit.
Points in the NFL. Like if this was college, then okay. You know, like college, you want to run up the score. You want to see what you're able to do. But in the NFL, no matter if you win by 1 point or if you win by 20 points, you just want to get out there with the dub. It's the Packers because my bad. Go ahead, Nate.
No, I'm just saying. I just want to make sure that you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm mad because he didn't want to run up the score. The answer he gave was I could have got hurt. I could have pulled a hammy or something like that. Like you can't play in fear. Like you can get hurt anytime, anywhere. And I'm just saying that let's just put it this way. If let's say he does get banged up in this next game, is the mental thing going to be like to still go out there and keep pushing it, knowing that if it could get worse and you know, you got to play the Lions next week?
I think,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think so. Yeah, because really quick, I'm sorry to cut you off, but yeah, I think yes, because Saquon is on a better team now. Saquon is on a team that can distribute the ball to AJ Johnson. I'm sorry, why do I keep calling him that? But AJ Brown.
We're going to talk about him in a sec too. I got something I want to talk about.
A bunch of good players on that offense. You know, Jalen Hurts has been struggling, but
he's been their offense, Jay. If he goes down, there's no Eagles.
He didn't want to put himself ahead of the team in the ultimate goal of winning the championship, obviously. And you seen that when they sat him at the end of the season, he could have broke Eric Dickerson's record, but he's like,
but that was Sirianni. I don't think that was him, dude. I think Sirianni.
There's a video of him saying Sirianni asked him if he wanted to go in and get it, and he sat there and said no. He said, "Let the young ones get it."
Yeah, he said, "Let the."
No, but that wasn't the Dickerson record. That wasn't the game that. We didn't see no video of him saying no. Yeah, that was a different game. That wasn't the one where he could have broke the record. We never saw any video of that. Sirianni's the one that made the call on that. We don't know if Saquon liked it or didn't like it. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Last game of the season. I'm telling you, Nate, it was last game of the season. But you know, regardless, selfless guy. I think he's a guy that's just like, if we got it, if we win the game, I done my part. I rushed for a couple touchdowns. I put my team in a good position to win. I don't need to go out there and put myself at risk anymore.
Okay, now let me
get injured.
Yeah, he does.
You know, I think if he does go out there and get injured, I think that's going to be a bunch of problems in the future time when you do have to come.
That's the end of the Eagles.
You have to go.
If Barkley goes down, the Eagles are done.
Oh yeah, and let me say this. Let me throw this question to you, Jay. If he didn't have the injury history as bad as he's had, okay, I get everybody gets hurt and all that, but he's had a lot of bad injuries. if he had not had the serious injuries he's had, do you think he would have stopped that run, or you think he would have ran to the distance?
I'm going to say yes, but we will never truly know because he's never been.
Of course, right.
This is,
and he's not going to admit that. He's not going to admit that.
This is what his second postseason game or third. You know, obviously he had one with the New York Giants a couple of years ago when they beat the Vikings, but you know. I do think he does because I don't think Saquon Barkley is that type of guy that puts himself over anybody else. Anytime you got a chance to break a record and to have your name in the history books and you like totally blow that off because you want the younger players to go in there, man,
but that wasn't the case, bro. I keep telling you, it's a different game, man. Show me the tape on that. That was a different game that he did that they pulled him out. Find it.
Well, what I have to say about it is, as far as him saying he didn't want to get injured and playing in fear, I think he said that as a PR move because that's what the PR people told him to say. They told him to say, hey, go out there, just tell him, hey, you don't want to go out there to risk injury, just to make everything look good.
Make it seem more like because it sounds stupid that you didn't burn that and get a touchdown out of that.
Right? Yeah, I mean,
blow somebody's parlay up.
It's just, you know, that's they do that. It's a political thing when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't say that he was saying that because he fears getting hurt. Every player fears of getting hurt, but they still go out there and play. So, you know,
I would have been okay, B, if he would have just said, you know what, guys, I didn't want to run up the score. We got the first down. We got the dub. We're moving on. That's it. Instead of saying you can leave the injury part out. Like I don't like that aspect, but it is what it is. Go ahead, Matt, or go ahead, Monkey. You had a point.
Yeah, I Googled that video, and it says that Saquon Barkley, the Philadelphia Eagles running back, opted not to chase Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record in the 2024 NFL season, prioritizing the team's playoff run over personal milestones.
Yes.
While Barkley was on track to potentially break the record, he ultimately decided to rest and not risk further injury, effectively ending his pursuit.
To me, he wouldn't have broke it because he didn't do it in 16 games. So that's not
right. But I could sit there and say, well, you didn't do it in 14 games. So then,
well, the reality is we don't know. We won't know who decided to sit him down because it was the last game of the year and he didn't even play.
Yeah,
and they didn't come out. He didn't come out and say, I decided not to play. Sirianni's the one that said it. So
he said, let the young boys come in because they asked him, but. Because I'm reading
but Jay, but we're talking about the last game where he wasn't even a part of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. The column right now because he was like close to it, and they decided right after they played the Dallas Cowboys, which was on December 29th. The column came out December 30th, and he's like, I'm not playing. Let the young boys go in there and let him do his thing.
Well, that's. I mean, dude, you're chasing history, man. You're never gonna have a chance to hit that record again.
But I know what you're saying, though. Regardless, with all of that,
well, you never know.
Regardless, I think that
Barkley's never.
Saquon Barkley is. I don't think he's really.
You're never gonna have a chance at that record again, and the fact that you didn't do it, you're gonna have to live with that. But that's all right.
Barkley's not a stat chaser. He's
never.
A team player. He was even like that in New Jersey. He was always that. He was that player's player. You know, he's not about himself.
And while you talk about that, Nate, you got to remember, you have one of the greatest running backs in history that was the same way, Barry Sanders.
Right.
And that's why Barry,
the same thing.
And that's what Barry Sanders relates to Saquon.
But Barry left the game because the Lions sucked. That's really what it came down to. The Lions were terrible, and Barry was not wanting to be any part of it anymore.
But that has nothing to do with either.
Well, I'm just saying, Saquon.
I know Barry Sanders puts team before anything else.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If you had a chance to chase history and break a record and be in the record books, would you do it, or would you do it, or would you sacrifice the team?
In the same situation that he's in, I wouldn't chase it.
Is it same situation, or does my team suck?
Because he knows the same situation. It does matter because if it's the same situation and I got Jalen Hurts as my quarterback, knowing if I get injured, my team is done in the playoffs. They am not making it to no Super Bowl. Their chances are done. There's no way they're going to go to the Super Bowl without Barkley.
The whole season, man. Running backs get injured all the time.
But not running backs are not Barkley.
I get it. All right. Here's another point I do want to ask y'all because it's kind of been in my head about the Eagles. AJ Brown reading a book on the sideline. I know we've heard a lot about that this past week and the week before. In fact, the book that he promoted, Amazon, went up 53% in sales. It's insane. Just real quick, are y'all okay with that? If you're a coach seeing that, or a player who's playing his ass off, and you see a guy just sitting there reading a book, tell me about it.
Yeah.
It was the Packers.
My bad, bro. Go ahead.
Go ahead, B.
I'll tell you what it is.
What is it?
Do you think any of the Lions players would be doing that?
No.
Fuck no.
Hell no. So there you go. That's
No.
the culture. That is called culture. And that's why Philadelphia is not going to make it to the Super Bowl, because
I wish I had a bell right now. I wish I had a bell right now for bell.
They don't have that
ding,
culture.
Ding, ding, ding,
Now,
ding. Yes.
I don't care. Yeah, it's cool. AJ can do what the hell he want to do. That's fine. If the coach wants him to do it, that's fine. But that directly affects how that team reacts in the playoffs. This is the reason why successful teams, and as much as we talk about Kansas City and the Chiefs and the refs and stuff like that, this is exactly why they're always in the Super Bowl, because they don't do dumbass jack shit like that on the sideline.
And for a coach
AJ
to
Brown,
allow that, yeah,
the coach allows that. Then that tells you all you need to know about that team.
That's no different. That's no different for Kevin O'Connell sitting right back and letting Darnold be hoisted up after you beat the Packers. And by the way, they didn't win a game after that.
Right.
As a coach, Dan wouldn't do that either. I mean, come on.
Hey, maybe AJ's thinking about life after football. He wants to be an author,
Maybe.
By the way, he did meet that person that he virtually met the person that wrote.
He made that guy famous.
That book went from on Amazon. It was ranked like 200.
Yep.
It wasn't even in the 250,000
That boy
rank.
shot
and
up.
all the way up to number one. Are you
Does anybody
kidding me?
even know the name of that book?
I did earlier.
Something.
Football for
It's an
dummies.
inspirational book. But
It better be a book about something tough.
It's a book on how to read by dummies.
If you have an inspirational book, that
It better be reading something tough, or else he's suspended.
And the thing about that whole situation too, the dude only had one catch for so many yards.
That's my point, B, is that when you have that bad of a game, okay, and you're that good of a receiver, you either could do one or two things. One, motivate your teammates and say, hey, I want to be better. Or two, you can act out. And I think that was an act out thing, rather than slamming his helmet down, yelling at the offensive coordinator, pushing somebody out of the way. He read the book because he knew that he was about to explode or go shit crazy. And maybe the book kind of, quote unquote, calmed him down, which I'm not buying at all. But that's the narrative. That's the narrative that was put out there.
If I'm
passive aggressiveness.
Yeah, if I'm Sirianni, I will let him. Why? Because we've heard for 2 seasons now that he's been losing the locker room, and there's kind of been turmoil on the team. That's been all alleged, and problems in the locker room. So if that gets AJ Brown back on his square and back to where he used to be, then yeah, I mean, why not? And plus, Nick Sirianni's walking on eggshells right now anyway, because they have so many.
He's a hothead himself. The guy can't shut up.
So if I'm Nick Sirianni, yeah, why not? Go ahead and read your book, Mr. Brown. I mean, I can't.
I'll make him run a lap.
Stop you.
But,
do your thing.
But in the same instance saying that, Jay, he's basically lost the locker room, because if you can't go over to your star receiver and say, you know what, drop that fucking book. Your ass only caught one damn pass. How many routes you been running right? I've seen you been running some lazy ass routes. Get your ass out there and run some good ass routes.
You see Amara doing that when he catches one ball all game? Hell no. He's always talking to his receivers. He's talking to L.
A lot of people may disagree. I mean, I know Nate and B agree with me, but AJ Brown's not Amon-Ra. Let's just be honest.
No,
let's be honest.
All right, to wrap this little point up. Did y'all ever seen Varsity Blues? I'm sure y'all seen it, right? It's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when he's reading the book on the sideline, and John Voight goes up to him and just takes the book out of it? Like, what the hell?
You know what?
That's what should have been done.
Reading a book is better, considering what happened to the last AB that ran off in the field with his shirt off.
Oh dear. You probably need
AJ Brown, his initials are AB.
I got a feeling that this book thing's going to go so big for him that he's going to write a book. He's going to write a memoir when he retires from the NFL, and it's going to be an all-tell, like kind of like a TO situation, like all-tell what happened in that locker room.
Jalen Hurts was a dickhead. He wouldn't throw me the ball.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna read a book right now.
All right. All right. Show of hands. Who has the Eagles winning this game?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the total sweep. All right, made it easy.
If it wasn't in Philly, it'd be a different story, though.
It's gonna snow, ain't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to snow. It's at 2:00, so it's it could lighten up. This is the only way the Rams win the game, is if they can put enough pressure on Hurts to where they can get him in 3rd and longs. Remember what I said the last time? If you get the Eagles in 3rd and longs, Hurts is not good. He's just not good because that's where you bring the heat. You bring the heat on those 3rd and longs. So if you get them to 3rd and longs, it's going to be a long day for the Eagles. But if it's 3rd and short or 3rd and 2 or 3, it's the brotherly shove, and it's moving on with Saquon Barkley for 5 or 6 yards, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I have a question.
What's up?
How many of you have had concussions?
How many what?
I played football before.
Have you ever had a concussion?
Yeah, many times.
Okay.
I got cleaned out one time.
Yeah, so how were you 2 weeks after getting a concussion? Because I've had 6, and I'm telling you right now,
holy shit,
I wasn't ready to play no fucking football. I can tell you that.
No.
And it was pretty damn clear Jalen Hurts was not ready to play football last year.
Jalen Hurts has been playing like that all year, bro. I mean, like I can get your point, but I mean, I've seen a lot of
the look in his eyes.
He's been in concussion protocol for 17 games.
My first concussion, I've seen purple horses.
All right.
That was the drugs you were taking, Robbie. That wasn't
I will say this, and I'm going to wrap this little matchup up because we got the big one to talk about. If you didn't have Saquon on this team, this Eagles team wouldn't even be 5 wins at most.
I wouldn't give him 5 wins.
AJ Brown would have been traded by now.
I gave him 3.
Sirianni would have been fired.
Fucking coordinator.
I would have gave him 3 wins without Barkley.
So that's what I'm saying. So everything relies on Saquon. So if you stop Saquon, you stop the Eagles.
There you go.
All right.
Nobody's afraid of Jalen Hurts' arm. I can tell you that.
No. Fuck no.
Nobody's afraid of Jalen
I mean, you
Hurts,
remember that? Remember that Hail Mary he threw that was like 20 yards short of the fucking receiver? Like, real wow, bro.
Oh man. All right. Let's get to the big one that we've been all waiting for, boys. Well, 3 of us have. The Commies versus the Lions.
No, I'm excited about this game too.
All right, that's why you're here.
The Lions and Bills are what I'm rooting for right now.
All right. Y'all are here. Calm down. I was trying to build up my boys here.
How dare you?
Okay, the Commies versus the Lions in Ford Field. It's gonna be fucking rocking. It's probably gonna be louder than the fucking Tampa Bay game was, y'all. We are 2 games away from the Super Bowl. Ain't nothing getting in the way of this shit. Nothing. This train is on full locomotive, no stop until we get to New Orleans. Let's talk about it. Let's let the 2 not Lion fans talk about this first, and then we'll talk about it because we know we're going to go on soliloquies on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Tell me, Monkey, I'll start with you. Tell me your thoughts about this matchup and what you think.
I have been a big fan of Jaden Daniels from the get-go. I predicted that my hot take was the Commanders actually winning the division. Although that didn't happen, no one expected them to even fucking make the playoffs. So, I'll take a half a point on that. But Jaden Daniels is an amazing quarterback for a rookie. He's been I just love watching him play. He plays like Lamar. He plays like Josh Allen, and kind of like Patrick Mahomes does with the mobility, And he's had 8 games where he had 8 comebacks this year.
7, I think 7 games where he brought his team back. I think.
Yeah, see, like that's unheard of for a rookie, and we're talking about the Commanders. Like they ain't shit. like literally without we saw what they've been has been the laughing stock of the NFC East, literally for like a decade now.
The Giants will have a word with you on that, but yeah, pretty much.
But Jane Daniels, and I know the statistic about the Lions having issues with mobile quarterbacks, and it doesn't matter. I can give every single point, and I can talk up the Washington Commanders all night long, but it's still not going to change the fact that the Lions are going to win. Jane Daniels is going to be a headache. I mean, you guys just have issues with mobile quarterbacks. It's just facts, but your team is just whatever they can do. They better score. If the Commanders can win this game, they have to score on every possession. And I'm not talking field goals. It's got to be touchdowns because you guys are going to be doing the same damn thing. And they may stop you maybe once or twice, if they're lucky. But they would have to be like dependent on like a Goff turnover, like a freakish turnover, like that.
Could happen.
5 interception game. He wins them games
that.
when he throws 5 interceptions. So, I mean, you don't want him doing that either. That's like an ultimate win, or So.
All right, Matt, what do you think? Give us your thoughts.
Say the Commanders don't got enough offense. The Commanders don't have enough offense to keep up with the Lions, man. Come on. The Lions have the NFL's premier under center running team. They racked up a league high 1,800 yards. Let's see. Meanwhile, the Commanders defense owns the league's worst success rate at 47% and give up the most explosive plays against teams with under center runs.
Washington's the only team.
And
Robbie, I'm impressed by you.
And if the Commanders want to compete in this, they're going to have to stop that run game. But offensively, they don't got enough weapons to keep up with the Lions. Like, come on.
Right.
The Lions got Jameson Williams. They got and Montgomery's coming back this week, right?
Yes, sir. He's back.
They might as well. The whole team's might as well send special teams home.
That's the final nail in the coffin right there. Montgomery comes back. You got what? What do they call it? Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles.
Sonic and Knuckles. The only way for Washington to keep up with this, they got to shut the run game down and utilize their 2 wide receivers. And Jaden Daniels has to get outside the pocket to make plays, which I don't see happening.
That could happen.
He'll make a few plays, but
like this is not your same typical like Detroit Lions going to Ford Field and beat them down. Like they're a completely different team and hungry.
Going to the Lions Den, man. It's gotta be fucking vicious.
I love that. I love them blue helmets too. By the way, the blue helmets.
You did like that stat, huh, Brad?
I'll be playing. I
took notes. I took notes for this game.
Yeah, I felt like you're reading the cue cards that B sent you or something.
I did that. I did that all myself, man. I got cue cards right here, but
read the line down, Robbie. Good job. Checks in the mail. I did
that all myself.
I took notes for this game. Well, I didn't take notes for the other games. I only had enough time to get this one down.
Y'all crack me up, man. All right, Jay, talk to me, man. How you feeling? What are you thinking?
All right, so I think the Lions win. I think they win rather easily. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I think the Lions would really have control the whole game, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that they'd give Jane Daniels to actually come in and do a lot of damage. We got to understand that this Lions team has been here before. You're going up against a rookie quarterback coming off of a hard road victory in Tampa Bay. You're coming into a more hostile environment. You're going up against more experienced players, and you're on the road again. I mean, it's only so much of a beating that a team can take and so much mental stress a team like that can take so young. So I think the Lions win by maybe a score. So I'd say they may win by a touchdown or something. But I want to put it to you this way. I also got some notes myself. The Washington Commanders are a good team, but they're more average to good, right? Like they won on a couple lucky calls against Chicago. You won on a Hail Mary. That was a great pass by Jane Daniels. Nobody could dispute that.
Those games are 50-50 that they could have won.
You won a double, triple doink, whatever it was against Tampa Bay. At Tampa Bay, you got the dub, but I'm looking at their offensive ranking. They're 7th. That's actually good, but they're passing to 7th. 17th. I'm sorry. Rushing third. That's good. Time of possession, 9th, and you're 5th in scoring. That's like kind of good numbers. But then on defense, your run defense is 30th. You're going up against the best running team in the NFL with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery coming back looking for blood. So
they're below average in a lot of categories in the defense.
26th in interception. And one thing we do know is if Goff doesn't turn the ball over, you have absolutely no shot at winning that game. Goff has to be off his game. He has to be able to not complete to St. Brown, to Laporte, or whoever. I don't see the Washington Commanders defense being able to handle all of the skilled players we have.
Okay.
And I look at that and say, also, who are you going to have rushing Jared Goff? Our offensive line is still going to be good. Zeiler's out, but you got Christian Mahogany, a young kid who stepped up big time. Frank Ragnow out there playing, still at an elite level with a torn pectoral muscle.
I'm more worried about their interior pressure than the outside pressure. Let's put it that way.
But hey, listen, either way, I think our tackles and guards, center, everybody's going to play their game because they know what's at stake here. They know what's at stake here. So I think the Lions win. I think they keep control of the ball and the game pretty easily. I think they're just going to outclass the Commanders. I just don't think the Commanders on that level. I think this is the week their luck runs out as well.
And I think also too.
Really quick, I want to say to all of the Washington Commander fans out there who were saying we want Detroit, you got your wish. Now you got to deal with the people. You got to deal.
Wait a minute.
They have fans out very well for Denver.
They actually do have fans. Yes,
Robbie, they have fans.
Yeah,
they must have
fans now.
Probably just have
fans now.
They have
holograms.
Side.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't their stadium falling apart?
They're clones.
Yeah, it was pretty crappy actually.
Yeah, they needed a new stadium.
What was his name? What was the previous owner name?
Snyder.
He's still the owner. Oh no,
he's not. The new owner made
renovations in. Oh, that's right.
Never know.
You're right.
Well, the problem is they can't find a new place to put a new stadium. That's been the biggest issue for
talk to your boy Trump. Washington. I'm sure he'll find somewhere. It's a DC.
Put it right there, right where the warehouse is at. There you go.
Jay. One thing I want to add to what you said earlier, man, that I thought was real important. You said their run game is really good. The reality is, it's all Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is leading rushing.
That's yep.
So really, you cut the head off the snake dies. It might take a couple of minutes, but it dies. So,
come on,
anyways, go ahead, B. Tell me what you got.
Really quick. Yeah. We know that Aaron Glenn is going to draw some plays to keep him at bay because Aaron Glenn is still auditioning for a head coaching position. If you want to get out of here and keep these people knocking on your door and getting emails and phone calls about head coaching positions, you go out here and you shut Jay Daniels down. You let him know what's levels to this. We've been to the NFC Championship game last year. We know what it's like for heartbreak. We're not going to let you come in here and think that you can come in our house after we won the first seed, 15-2, with all the injuries and everything we faced this season, and come in the house and beat us.
And that's a great point. That's a great point too, Jay, because in the way the NFL is shifting to running quarterbacks, AG's had a lot of running quarterbacks he's played this year. Yeah. And he's done fairly well. I mean, Josh Allen was kind of the one that kind of got away, but it was more the defense. We just didn't have the dogs. We didn't have the horses to compete. But that's a good point, man, because I think if he does a number on Jaden Daniels, everybody's speaking Jaden Daniels' praise, because they should. He's a good quarterback. He's going to be a good quarterback. He's an elite quarterback in my opinion. Like, I already see a lot of Lamar Jackson in him with a better accuracy and throwing ability early on. That's scary. But the thing is, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know where that's Josh Allen. That guy's tiny as hell. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Aaron Glenn kind of can prepare for mobile quarterbacks. The only mobile quarterback
he can use that in his portfolio when he goes for these interviews.
Only mobile quarterback he didn't play this year was who? Lamar Jackson.
Stafford.
Ooh, wait. You call Lamar Jackson a quarterback?
Come on, man. 2-time MVP. He's soon to be 3. Come on.
Yeah, not bad for a running back.
He's also a Steeler fan, y'all. Come on.
Nah.
The only mobile quarterback he has.
Come on, bro.
But but that's what I'm saying is that adds to his portfolio when he goes for interviews and he goes like, well, who have you played in mobile quarterbacks? Because everybody knows the NFL is switching to mobile quarterbacks. Almost everybody in the NFL has a mobile quarterback, not named Detroit, not named the Rams. Very few teams. Anyways, B, go ahead. Talk to me.
So, yeah, AG, let me put it to you this way. Statistically, the Lions are fourth against giving up the most yards to mobile quarterbacks in the league. Now, what Dan says is true, Campbell, that is. He says that who can stop a mobile quarterback? You can't really stop mobile quarterbacks. But statistically, the Lions are fourth worst at doing it. So whatever AG does ain't stopping any mobile quarterbacks, okay? I don't care what defense you got out there.
Yeah.
He is going to have what his job is in these games, okay? Because he's going to have two mobile quarterbacks. Basically, he might come up against Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels.
Maybe three if it's Allen or if it's all three.
We're getting to that point.
Okay.
Anyway, the point of the matter is he's got to make the defense. If we want to win the Super Bowl, he's got to figure out a way to stop mobile quarterbacks. He is a guy that refused to put a spotter on a quarterback. Remember that. Everybody here remembers that. So don't. I mean, I love AG. I love what he's been doing with this defense.
But so is Shep's. Shep's the same way too. He don't like to do it either. He's a linebacker coach.
But I'm telling you right now, Jaden Daniels is going to come out smoking, okay? Because he's got to prove a point. I'm not saying they're going to win the game. That ain't going to happen. Because like Kevin says, which is a very good point, they don't have enough offense to keep up with our offense.
Yeah. And
all we got to do on defense is stop them a couple of times. I guarantee you right now, the Lions will not punt this whole game. Ooh. They won't punt. They're not going to punt.
Hot take.
They're not going to punt. They've done it in 3 or 4 games this year. They're not going to punt.
Hold that take, B. Hold that take, B. Don't forget it. Write it down.
Hey,
put it on your notes.
Fellas, I got to get off, though. I got some things I got to tend to.
All right, Jay. Hey, coming on, man.
You want me to give you an MVP right now?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, give us.
Really quick, I think the MVP of this game is going to be David Montgomery. I think this is
Knuckles.
I think he's going to get at least 100 yards and a touchdown. Go Lions, man.
All right, man.
Go Lions, fellas.
We'll be talking. We'll be talking on Saturday.
All right, Jay.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good night, buddy.
Have a good one, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, B. What you got?
So like I said, the point that Kevin made and Robbie, I didn't forget you. You made a really good ass point too with those notes. No, that was really good. I'm serious.
Only
because Robbie ain't the one to be bringing notes to the class.
He practiced the notes.
He did.
You get an A plus. A plus.
We had our own podcast, and he never did it for us.
Oh,
so they caught us off guard.
No. Sometimes I did notes as in Zimbertoidians.
He brought his hat, man. What do you expect? The Mad Hatter.
Come on, bro.
Much of the points that these two gentlemen made about how the offense is going to – they're not going to be able to stop the offense. Their defense is not good enough at all. In any area,
the only
they can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They don't have any playmakers that are going to do that. You got to remember, Detroit is the best offensive line in the NFL right now, probably next to Buffalo and Philadelphia.
The only way Detroit could lose this game is if Jared Goff does not throw interceptions.
The only way that the Lions lose this game is if the bus gets into an accident. Right? On the way there. That's the only way.
But,
there's no way they're going to lose this game. It's in Detroit. They're hungry. They got the coach to carry them past that point. And to a special note, though, this is going to be a good game in the first half because of this.
The stars are aligning.
Is just like Dan Campbell. Goes for 4th down. They were 3 or 4. They were 3 or 5 last game on going on 4. They are one of the most. In fact, Washington actually is the highest percentage in going for 4th down and completing him in the whole NFL. 78%. The Lions are next. But that tells you something about how he coaches too.
Well,
so they'll go from 4th downs. I'm not saying they're going to be successful, but he's going to be going.
And even B,
He's gonna
if
have
they
to.
didn't, and even B, if they didn't have that percentage, I think in this game they would have to go for it on fourth downs because the reality is
Well, that's
you're
what
not
I'm
winning
saying.
this game kicking field goals. Like the
Nope.
Lions are going to score touchdowns come hell or high water. The only way they're not going to score touchdowns is if they get turnover. If they turn over the ball, that's the only
And the
way.
thing ab-
That's always going to happen.
And the thing about the Lions is they don't have to score touchdowns on every possession. You know why? Because they're going to have the ball every possession. They're going to score in every
true.
possession. It doesn't make a difference what Washington does. Washington can't score field goals. That's what they got to come into this game with that mentality. We cannot settle for field goals.
And if you watch
unless we're winning the game.
And if you watch that Tampa Bay game, the reason why the game was so close and the Commanders had to win it in a field goal is because they did kick field goals and allowed Tampa Bay to come back in that game because the Commanders dominated that game. They should have won that game going away. It should not have been a field goal. But the problem is that when you kick field goals and the other team scores touchdowns, that's how they get back in the game, and that's what made it close. I don't see that with Detroit. Detroit is too high-powered of an offense. I mean, literally, we don't have to throw a pass all game, and we probably still win going away because our run offense is just stellar. And even if you take away one of our guys, Gibbs is going to be a huge mismatch for that defense. Like Ben Johnson's gonna just dial up a bunch of plays for Gibby, and he's on a hot streak right now, and ain't nobody stopping that dude. Good luck.
Well, Wagner will give it a shot.
I think
Wagner's like 35 years old in the tooth. He better.
I get that and all, but Bobby Wagner's still Bobby Wagner. He's still playing like Bobby Wagner.
He better square up on Gibby because if he doesn't get him, he grasps him, he's gone.
And Lulu's pretty good.
No doubt.
I mean, they got a really good. They got a good linebacking core, and it's good considering the fact of who they play in their own or their own division. But when they come to play the Lions, that offensive line, especially during playoff time, they step up a level. It's over with for that stuff. If they get pressure on Goff, I'll be surprised.
Yun's got two rookies cornerback starting, right?
No,
just one.
Just one.
Yun's got Terry and Arnold and just one.
Rakestraw. No. Rakestraw. He's a rookie, but he's not starting.
Yeah, he's not starting. The other one's Meek Robinson, the one that shut down JJ.
B, do you think?
Meek Robinson.
Terry, Scary Terry. Would you put him on Scary Terry?
Or
would you let?
I would probably put on Scary Terry. Scary Terry's going to get his yards too. Scary Terry's a good ass receiver. Very underrated, good ass receiver.
He's not JJ. Thank God, he's not JJ. So
I had him on my fantasy team. I can tell you, he got me a whole bunch of points this year. So.
They're probably going to play the safety over the top for Scary Terry.
I don't think they really have to do that. I think they only use that in the case of elite receivers like JJ.
Yeah.
Or
I think they could play a man-to-man. I think
you got it's got Brian Branch out there, right?
Press him on the line.
And Brian Branch,
Branch will play the slot if Emil Fawu will play with Kirby in the back.
First of all, they really don't have a secondary threat. The Noah kid,
De'Ami Brown is
okay. He comes around, but Tampa Bay really didn't have no coverage on that either. Their secondary was McCullum was going in and out of the lineup. That fucked everything up for them. Dean got put out the whole game. Jamal Dean he got put out for the rest of the game, so that helped him out a lot too.
I know.
And they just got the secondary for Detroit is better than anybody thinks they are. You got Branch back there. Well, you got Branch playing a slot right now, the nickel. You got Kirby back there. You got Iffy back there. You got Arnold, who is coming into his own. You got Amik, who just shut down one of the best receivers in the league.
Rakestraw is going to come along at some point.
And Rakestraw is going to come along. And then, we got both of our linebackers are going to be back. Anzalone and the defense is going to be there. Don't let Hutchinson come back for the NFC championship. It's going to be fucking over.
Washington got a huge mismatch because nobody on their team can cover Laporta.
Nobody covered Gibbs.
Yeah, that was another thing.
Nobody can cover Laporta on that defense.
A really big game.
And I think also too, like I don't know if y'all remember the Hard Knocks episode where Amara, without blinking, named all the receivers that were drafted ahead of him. De'Ami Brown was one of them. So he's gonna take this personal this game.
What year was he
motherfuckers,
drafted?
that's what you get for not drafting me.
What year was St. Brown drafted?
21.
21.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just motivated just to get to the next round anyway.
Pure
I don't
motivation,
think Washington we don't really have any bad blood against Washington because we haven't played them like that. So, and the last time we played them was in 2022 and we beat their ass then.
Yeah.
So
He's played them already this year, right?
It was with Carson Wentz, but still.
Yeah. They got us in that championship game, back in the day. They kept us in the Super Bowl.
Man.
So revenge is better served cold.
Man, that happened 800 years ago.
That kept us in the Super Bowl. That kept Barry from a chance at the Super Bowl.
Different teams.
Come on, bro. The Steelers
if you are reaching to find something to win this game,
you forgive, but you never forget. But I get you.
Come on, man. The Steelers put 28 on the Commanders. And Detroit got a hell of a lot better offense.
The way I look at it with Jaden Daniels is that the story that has been made about him is he's poised in the pocket, he's poised as a person, and he's poised when the game's on the line. The key to the victory is really to not make this game close. The key to it is for the Lions to put belt to ass early, and so by the fourth quarter, they're playing from behind, and he's got to put the Superman cape on and just really see what he's about. But if this game is close in the fourth quarter, I still trust Goff, but man, I do not want this guy in a game with the ball in his hands because he's shown that he can do it.
All the Lions need is 2 defensive stops in this game is over. That's all they need.
Dude, I don't even think Jesus can help the Commanders win this game.
Wow, I love that.
I think the Redskins coming back and they'll win this game.
Like the Indian gods can't even help him. The Lions are going to go there. They're going to steal all the TP from the Indians.
Oh my God! Somebody, all the indigenous people are going to message ours on the boards now. Who this guy and Mad Hatter over here. I'm like, we're not.
Hey, you won't be the first person to be mad at me.
Look him up, right? Just has to do with garbage cans.
I think when you look at this matchup, it's just another team in the way of us. Like the Lions are destined to get to the Super Bowl because the fact is when you're 30 minutes away from it last year, it's hard to get back to that situation. And if they take care of business, they're going to have that same game in their house for all the marbles to get there. And I just don't see this team faltering. I mean, if it was on the road, 60-40 that we could win that game. But playing at home in front of our fans, I say 60-40. I think the Lions have been good on the road. But what I'm saying is the Lions have been in this moment and all year, and nothing's going to get in the way of it. I mean, the reality is that this team is hungry, they're driven, they're focused, and nobody's going to get in the way of them getting to the Super Bowl. Like, this is as good as it's going to get, and they're going to write the story at the end of the season. And the Commanders are a good team. They have a good young franchise. They got their young stud quarterback. They got a lot of money.
High potential.
Yeah.
Low experience.
Exactly. Low payroll too. Quarterbacks on a cheap deal and all that.
Yep.
So they got all the pieces in the world. They're a great story. Like I said, they're a great story this year, but the Lions are a better one. And I think everybody and their mother is pushing for a Bills-Lions Super Bowl because two teams, one's never been there, one couldn't win the game there, So that's what right.
In a row.
That's what the nation wants to see. They want to see those two teams that never won a Super Bowl have a chance to fight for one.
At least you've been there.
Yeah. And we're on a crash course. I really do believe. I think that y'all, precursor, I think y'all do beat the Chiefs. I think this is y'all's year, just like it's our year, and we'll see what happens in New Orleans on that night. The Commanders are, like I said, the Commanders are a good team. I think they give us a little bit of a fight, but the Lions are so much better. and they should be. It's expected that we should whoop their ass.
Mhm.
That's why the line is like 9 to 10 points, because if this game is close, I'm concerned going into whoever we play the next week. I really am, because it should not be close. Not with a rookie quarterback and an average defense, below average defense, and not a lot of weapons on their offense either. Like,
well, the only reason, like I said, the only reason if it's that close is because the offense isn't performing. Because we already know what the defense is capable of. So it's not going to be on the defense to win this game. It's going to be on the offense to win this game. Like I said, I feel that they're not punting this ball. They're not punting.
hold that.
Jack
take.
Fox is going to be holding
hold that
extra
hot
points.
take. Wait a minute, all pro Jack Fox? Come on,
Right.
man. He's got to get a punt.
holding-
He's got to get a punt.
He ain't got a punting. He ain't punting.
Let me ask you this question, B, because this is going to rattle in my head a little bit. The Lions had a bye week, of course. A lot of them enjoyed it, rested, recovered, whatever you want to say. Glenn and Ben Johnson were pretty busy. I'm pretty sure they did the same thing, but they had a lot of interviews with teams and all that, gave their spiel of why they should be a head coach and what they have to offer. Are you worried at all that might get to their heads a little bit, because it's hard to walk and chew gum at the same time. And when you're coaching a team that's about to go to the Super Bowl and you're thinking about what could be later after that, it's hard to compartmentalize that aspect. Are you concerned at all about that?
Nope.
Okay. Be with the short answers.
I think they're focused. They are like Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, they're just like the clones of Dan Campbell. They are there for a purpose. Ben, he already said he ain't going nowhere until they do their ultimate goal, which is win the Super Bowl. So all the interviews he has right now, he's thinking in his mind they're going to be in the Super Bowl. They're going to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So that's what he has in his mind. That's his focus right now. That's the reason why he's doing these interviews.
Do you like that aspect that they did their interviews before the week of the game, or do you rather than do it after the season's over? I'm just curious.
I think they're just, with both of them, I think AG is definitely going, no matter if we win or get in the Super Bowl or not. He's definitely gone. He wants to be a head coach somewhere, and I think they're both going. The Jets are good.
It's probably
Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson ain't going nowhere if we don't win a Super Bowl. I'm telling you that right now. Because he is focused in getting his team that. But if they do, he's gone.
He did hire an agent, so just FYI.
Like I said, it's that thought that he's going to get in the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. So
I think it's ironic that just what I'm hearing from rumors from insiders, what they're saying is that Tom Brady was one of the big sales jobs to Ben Johnson for the Raiders. And Tom Brady's going to be calling the game on Saturday.
Oh no!
And he's part owner of the freaking Raiders. Like, first off, how is that not a conflict of interest? Like,
he's doing the Lions game, right?
Whatsoever.
Yeah, the Lions game.
Could be worse. Could do the Bills game, Kev.
And then Johnson.
Actually, I like Tom Brady in the booth. It's not like Collinsworth. I mean, Jesus Christ, rip that dude's vocal cords out of his damn throat.
Punch him in the face.
I put him on mute.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I'm saying is, like, when Ben Johnson was asked about Tom Brady, somebody asked him in his interview presser or his presser for the week. He said he met him once. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Like, that's got to be some kind of tampering, right? Because I mean, you're part owner and you're a broadcaster, but he's going to be talking to him. I guarantee you before the game starts. So I don't know.
Well,
I think
this is something I wanted to say
to each other. They're not going to be talking alone where there's not going to be anybody around. It's not like, hey, come here for a second. Let me talk to you.
Well, I mean, like, Brady goes on the field and talks to everybody. I don't know, maybe. But go ahead, B.
I mean,
well, I'm just saying one of the issues I did want to tell Sonia about that too is that damn, now I lost my train of thought. That's how it happens when you get old. Damn you, Kev. Anyway, no, I mean, if he's preparing to do that, I mean, that's fine. I mean, maybe it's just he's just going out there to find out what's out there too, like he did last year. Now he didn't hire an agent last year either. But this is telling me the confidence that he has in his team that he's coaching, right? He's offensive coordinator for right now. And that tells me a lot. It tells me a lot. That tells me he feels he's going to get a ring with this team this year, and he don't have to worry about coming back here, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, we're going to have people replace him and AG. So it's not going to be it's not a big deal as people are making it. But
I trust
Ben
Dan
Johnson,
to find the right replacement. Yeah, for sure.
well, it'll come from somebody that's in the lower rankings that needs to come up. But anyway, on our team, they're going to promote within, kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers used to do.
Kansas City Chiefs do it too. Yeah.
But like I said, it's Ben Johnson's going to be a hell of a loss, no matter who we replace him with.
Sure.
Because he is that guy. All right. He's Henry Winkler in the Water Boy. Okay.
If it's the Raiders, does that surprise you at all?
Hey, if you just end up losing Ben Johnson, you just can have Arthur Smith. More happy to pass him over.
Chicago can have Arthur Smith.
Yeah, we got Scotty Montgomery, man.
Somebody take him.
We got plenty of offensive coordinators. We got.
I do think B that he will take Tanner with him.
Okay.
Because Tanner is more of a clone of what he wants, and so I think Ben's going to be calling the plays, but I think he does take Tanner. So that's why I think Scotty will probably be the option. Somebody said Hank, which Hank did interview for an offensive coordinator position. I thought that was kind of interesting.
For Seattle, yeah.
But he's been very in tune with Ben Johnson and his offense too. So I don't know. We got to remember too that this is Dan's playbook. It's not Ben's necessarily. Like Ben has been the creator of it, but when you look at how he matured to be an offensive coordinator, he was a passing game coordinator before that.
This is all been an offense, man. I know. Dan is the centrifugal force between AG and Ben Johnson. Okay, he lets them both do their thing. Now he'll step in if he feels that something is out of whack. He'll do that even with Phipps.
But the run game that's with Hank too.
But Ben Johnson is the guy that orchestrates these plays. Don't get that twisted.
No, I'm not.
He is
I'm
the
not,
offensive genius behind that offense. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Dan would probably do fine. However, he is not going to be calling. Dan is not technical like Ben is. Ben basically has been tutoring this his whole life. So he was a quarterback too. Remember?
Well, he was a quarterback. He went to a tight ends coach, and he went to being the passing game coordinator. And then he became OC. So you see the maturation of his career. So yeah, I think the Lions have viable options. The reality is, and honestly, the Lions have all the pieces. Yeah, losing the creative mind, maybe losing the guy who makes all the trick plays, that's going to suck. But you still have a great line. You still have great backs. You have two great receivers. You have a great tight end, and you have a great quarterback. Like, almost anybody can make this offense look good. I really do think. I mean, we'll see. It'll be a matter of test after.
I'll tell you, when if Ben Johnson leaves and the Lions win the Super Bowl, I guarantee you that there's going to be a letdown after this season. Even with all that what Dan Campbell says, there's going to be a letdown because you won a Super Bowl. You got that big ass fucking monkey off your fucking back, and that's like a
you're not as hungry. You're not as hungry as you were before.
I'm not saying they're going to be the bottom of the basement. Hell no, they're going to still be competing for that division title, but they're not going to be a 15-2 team next year.
They're going to be like the Chiefs. They're going to be like the Chiefs. When the Chiefs won their first one, they just stay consistent.
They're going to be like 11 and 6
it on when they get to the playoffs.
12 and 5. Yeah, they're going to be moseying their way through the season. That's what they're going to be doing.
And that's not taking into account that the KC gets special extra help.
Fuck KC. KC ain't going to make it because Buffalo's going to put them out of their misery.
What would be okay? So I want to ask this to y'all. What would be a better story if? Well, I know it'd be the better story, but what would garner more headlines if the let's say the Rams pull the inevitable and beat the Eagles this week, and Stafford comes to Detroit. And the only thing that stands in the way of the Lions going to compete for the Lombardi is Stafford. Or the fact is that if the Lions get to the Super Bowl and beat the Chiefs and ruin their three-peat.
That's not going to happen because the Bills are going. Did you not hear what Brian just said?
Well,
He just fucking told you the script.
It's
The script is the Bills are going to whoop ass, and they're going to the motherfucking Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
But I'm just saying because here's the thing. We talk about the refs. We talk about how the Chiefs are in bed with the refs, which I think there is some truth to that. The reality is, and I said this before the season started, the NFL wants the Chiefs to win 3 in a row. That's never been done. It's something that they can pump their chest for the longest time for a team to do that in their league. They're going to do everything they can to get the Chiefs to get 3 in a row. So just work with me. What would be better story? One of those two.
It would definitely have to be the Kansas City one because LA, that's just a story that keeps repeating itself. It's getting tiring, to tell you the truth. I really hope.
But it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy, like if
it won't be as crazy as Kansas City going for a 3-peat because no team has done that.
That's true.
And the Rams have constantly played Detroit in the last 3 fucking years. I'm tired of that fucking narrative. I'm getting tired of hearing about Kelly Stafford and her fucking the damn backup quarterback. I'm getting to hear, Stafford cussing out Kirby because he thinks he's a dirty player. I'm tired of all that narrative shit. I'm tired of it.
I got you.
I like Stafford. Stafford's still my guy. He's still my quarterback. Goff is my quarterback, but Stafford is my guy too. And he played really well when he was here, and he won a Super Bowl. Much deserved for him. Kudos. But now, dude, you got to just fuck that shit. I hope Philadelphia does win because I don't want to see LA here because I have to go through all that shit again. I don't want to go through all that shit.
I love B's honesty.
So I have an issue with that NFL wants first look at aspect type deal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the NFL wants them to 3-peat, that means I would have to look at the NFL also wanted the Bills to lose 4 Super Bowls in a row. And if that's the case, then Bills fans should be able to sue the NFL for emotional distress. I mean,
well, actually, you kind of put this in a different situation. If you put this in a different situation, Nate, if the Bills and the Lions went to the Super Bowl, what story do you think would be better? Bills winning and getting their first Super Bowl, or the Lions actually winning a Super Bowl? They've been to 4.
So
actually winning a Super Bowl.
No disrespect.
Or the Lions actually winning their very first Super Bowl.
No disrespect to Monkey. I mean, y'all had 4 chances to beat the Cowboys. Okay, the Cowboys are
2. Hold on, no,
2. Giants. Were the other one?
It was the Giants, the Redskins, and the Cowboys, and the Cowboys again.
Damn, I felt like y'all played the Cowboys 4 times. Okay, so 2 chances to beat the Cowboys, the Giants.
I bet you they felt like that.
Right? Yeah.
Hey,
now you're showing your age, is what you're doing.
I've never.
Kevin, you're old.
Are you out of diapers yet? You still got a baby?
Aren't you supposed to be coaching on Saturday anyway, Brian?
I've never seen. So to answer your question, I've never seen a team go 0-16 ever in my life. Okay, ever losing every fucking game. Like
then the Browns go 0-16.
Well, yeah,
twice now.
But we started it
in the same century.
But the Browns were never the butt of the joke like the Lions were. I remember watching Jay Leno, and he would always give little quips at the end. And one of his quips was how bad the Lions were. Like it was horrible to watch. Okay,
no, I get that.
So the best story would be a man who came into a city who played on the same team that was 0-16 and resurrected that franchise to their first ever Super Bowl. That would be a story that honestly, and B could probably agree with me on this. I believe that if the Lions win this Super Bowl, they could start a mini dynasty because I think they have the horses and the power to do it in the NFC. And every year, Detroit's still a young team. They still got a lot of young players that haven't even peaked yet. Okay, and Goff's in his prime. But if that happened, I think the Lions fans would always remember that first ever. They wouldn't care about the 2 to 3, the 4, whatever. they would always remember that first Super Bowl ever won for the city. And I do agree with B. I think after they do win it, there is going to be a letdown because you're not going to be as hungry. You're not going to be as driven. You're going to feel like the Goliath is off your shoulders. And now you're just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lions making the Super Bowl would be a good story.
Well,
that's a start, but we want to win it. We want to win
I know. I'm just saying them making the Super Bowl for the first time would be a good story.
As far as fanship goes, I mean, as far as people in general that like football, all right, that would be a good story for Detroit to get in the Super Bowl and win. Maybe it won't be good for Buffalo fans because then it'll be your 5th Super Bowl you've been in and you haven't won. However,
I would hear more shit about losing your 5th Super Bowl than you guys would be about losing your 1st.
And you lost to the Lions of all people.
Yeah, see, so fuck you both.
But anyway, Buffalo's been to 5 Super Bowls. Lions haven't been anywhere near a damn Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Okay? Well, you're going to be in this Super Bowl and lose this one too. But anyway.
No.
No, and I'm going to say this for when that does happen, though, Kevin, because this is what it was. The Lions are really good at remembering what the fuck you did to them in the regular season. And when Buffalo came in there and beat our ass,
oh yeah,
we'll think about that shit in the Super Bowl. That will be our motivating factor. Oh, these motherfuckers came into Detroit and beat our ass. Oh, fuck that shit.
The Bills don't also play the same offense twice. They change their offense every game.
But you know what's funny? You know what's.
Well, have good luck trying. Well, you didn't stop our offense either. So
we did not.
You caught us in a perfect storm. You had a hot ass quarterback at that particular time. That motherfucker. He worshiped God because the football guy said, "You know what?" Oh, to Josh Allen. That motherfucker.
He got engaged.
Then on top of that, our defense was like. At that time, we had nobody out there. We were playing with people from off the street. I'm not making that as an excuse that we lost, okay? But that was part of the reason why we lost.
And we only gave up like 30 points.
I wouldn't blame the injuries. I would blame the morale from the injuries that hit on the morale.
Either way, it's tough because these guys
still kept up with you. You guys lost a lot of your key players on that defense. Yeah. Just prior.
And yet we still won 15 games.
Scored. We only lost by what? 8 points, 6 points, something like that. 6 points.
We spotted you 14 points.
6 points. 6 points. Yeah. It was 48. I think it was 48, 42.
The offense started off a little slow, which
I'm glad
I'm great. I'm brilliant that the defense did a very good job of making sure that Detroit punted at least twice. Remember what I said about Washington? Washington don't make us punt. They're not going to make us punt. That's what's going to make us kill their ass. And we might stop them twice.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we stop them twice, they ain't gonna win. Period.
I'm glad you said that, B, because I'm glad you said that, B. I was thinking in my head, I was like, man, if we get into Super Bowl and play the Buffalo Bills and the first play goes to Ty Johnson, I want Brian Branch to light his ass up. Like in that Super Bowl where I don't want to knock the guy out like the Philadelphia Eagles did that receiver for the Patriots, but I wanted to knock the shit out of him because that made me sick watching Ty Johnson just balling all over the field, had 100 and fucking yards on us.
Well,
I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I love Ty Johnson though. Ty Johnson. I was so mad we got rid of his ass, man. Damn, fucking Patricia.
I'll see your little crushing hit to Ty Johnson, and I'll raise you a Matt Milano to a Pat White hit where he folded him up like a fucking lawn chair on the golf. How's that?
Pat White. Oh. Not
from
sure
come on.
Did he hit golf? What you talking about the game?
Saying,
oh.
No,
I'm saying I'm raising.
Oh, you're talking about a play. Oh, yeah.
And for him to do the golf what he did to Pat White, which folded him up like a lawn chair.
Well, first of all, Ty Johnson won't be doing that in the next game because we'll have our full complement of linebackers, and trust me, AA will be on his ass.
Ain't gonna do that anyway because It's
That was Ty
kinda,
Johnson's career year right there. One game.
Yeah, this is like.
But you know what? You haven't seen you haven't watched a lot of Buffalo games. I have watched a lot of Buffalo. Ty Johnson is the fucking man. And I kept trying to tell Kevin that, and
This
Kevin be
season.
like, yeah,
This season he's been.
man. So he's still a guy.
Not having Ty Johnson led us to getting Gibbs. I'm okay with that.
Gotta have more than one good year. So
Well, that was a long
I
time
give
ago.
I
Yeah,
give him
exactly.
so
Yeah,
much
Ty
credit
Johnson.
this year. He has changed my mind. He ain't at least he's not a complete roster space. I wanted him gone. I wanted Frank Gore Jr. up
He's
there.
a good
That's what I
compliment
wanted.
to James Cook. I like James Cook, and I think he's your feature back. But in the NFL, you can't have these backs going 30 carries a game. They're not big enough, and it's a long fucking season. That's why the Lions have two good backs, and even when one goes down, the other one steps up. Man, that's just
Even
We
the big
we
running
actually got
backs.
3 good backs. Because you put
yeah.
Craig Reynolds
Vaki.
in that effect.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like Vaki too, but yes.
If you
Well,
look at
Vaki-
the big running backs, the
He
ones
hasn't
that
proved himself
have
yet.
all them high
He will.
carries like Henry and like Barkley and CMC, they get all them high carries, and look what happens the following year. They all get injured. And it's happened
Mhm.
every single time. So I'm telling you, like I said last week, you're going to see probably Barkley and Henry go down with an injury next season.
Yeah, I mean, and what they've done this year, having almost 2,000 yards, I mean, it's amazing.
That's a lot
I
of wear
mean,
and tear on them legs.
it
I
is.
don't care
It
who
is.
you are
Yeah, I mean, but
or how big their legs are. They're fucking
they get
massive.
a-
They're size
if they
medium,
get-
but still.
if they get a ring, I guess it's justified. That's what what
Right.
it all comes down to is winning that ring. I will say this: I was thinking about this too, about all the matchups. If you look at all the matchups, with the exception, I think, of the Rams and Eagles, each coach, one is a defensive, one is an offensive coach. Dan Quinn versus Dan and Dan. Then you have
McVay versus Sirianni.
those are both offensive coaches. Yeah,
Those
Harbaugh
are both
versus
offense.
yeah,
Uh,
it's not a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Harbaugh versus
McDermott.
McDermott. Yeah, and then Andy Reid versus DeMeco Ryans. So it's interesting, like to see what side is going to win out. Obviously, offense is the thing. All the NFL is based on offense. All the penalties are favor the offense. But it's interesting to see how defensive coaches are kind of doing their thing too. Because if you look at the candidates in this pool, a lot of them are offensive guys. I think Aaron Glenn is probably the only hot defensive coordinator that people are talking about. I'm sure Spags was, wanted to go into coaching. I'm sure Spags would be up there, but I think he's happy just being the DC in Kansas City. But I just thought that was interesting. I'm excited for all these matchups. I think they're going to be great matchups. We're hopefully going to see some good games. I don't think we're going to see a lot of blowouts. I think the two games that are probably the blowouts are probably the Kansas City and the Lions. And it doesn't surprise me that Vegas has had the line at over 9 or 8 points. Because they're the number one seeds. They're the best two records.
I see more shootouts than blowouts.
Think so?
I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Baltimore and Buffalo is going to be that's going to be a dogfight. That's going to be a dogfight to the end.
Yeah, you never know. That Lions and Commanders could be a shootout.
No.
If it's a shootout, that's not good for the Lions because
could be. I'm just saying it could be. I'm not saying it's good.
No.
Yeah,
it could be, bro.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like I said earlier, if we're close in that game in the fourth quarter, that's not good going forward. Well, because the Eagles
we're not. Let's not do that. Okay. First of all, that's not going to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
It ain't happening, man. So
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's my narrative.
No.
The beauty about watching these games this weekend is I ain't gonna have no anxiety watching it.
Yeah,
right.
You have no dog in the race, except saying fuck the Ravens.
Yeah, because the Steelers are good for one thing, and that's giving me 60 minutes of anxiety.
But yeah, I think it's going to be great games all around. I'm excited to see these young quarterbacks, how they play. Jaden Daniels, Stroud, how they Hurts still young, how they elevate their games and how they elevate their teams. I think a lot of talk is about the running backs, but shocker here, I think the running backs are going to struggle. I think it's going to be more of who can pass the ball effectively and who can make the better passes, because all these defensive coordinators are going to key in on the run. The Rams will key in on that run. Washington will try to key in on Detroit's run. Buffalo will try to stop the Ravens' run and vice versa. Like, I think that it's going to be up to these quarterbacks who can make the better passes, who can make the smarter passes and get their team in the end zone.
Bills ain't stopping that Ravens run. First of all, their goal is to slow it down. There is no stopping that run. You just gotta slow it down and keep Henry under 100 yards.
You can stop it.
That's
force Lamar.
And Washington's 30th in runs. No, they ain't fucking stopping no run.
Yeah, force Lamar into third and longs, because
never know.
Yeah, I mean, of course, anything can happen. But just like Jalen Hurts, if you put Lamar in long distance situations, he struggles himself. Because he can't run because it's too long. Sometimes it's too long of a play. Also, too, he doesn't have his best receiver in Zay Flowers. So he'll have to rely on Mac Andrews or a check down or something like that. They're probably not going to.
And people keep saying Zay Flowers isn't that big of a deal missing out. But if it does come down to the point where they have to rely on the passing game, it is going to matter. Because Zay Flowers is their number one receiver for down.
Zay Flowers is a damn good receiver, man.
He's not playing this week.
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so he
can't play.
Everyone's like, they're like, Zay Flowers
he can't play.
They're not playing if they just signed Deontay Johnson. They're not playing him. And that's another reason why I think the Bills are going to win is because they signed Deontay Johnson. The last time they signed Deontay Johnson, they started off 0-2.
Nobody has won a game since he's been on their team.
Lamar can't run if he chew off his kneecaps.
Here's a question I have for you, Monkey. Here's a question I have for you. McDermott's a defensive guy, so I'm sure most of the time, if they win the toss, he defers because he wants that second half opportunity. If you guys win the toss, do you defer or do you take the ball and try to score first?
Defer it. I would still defer it. I don't care. You let them do it because we already know what they're expecting, or we know what they're going to come out and do. They're going to try to run the ball because they did it the last time and they did it very fucking
Would you rather wouldn't put him behind early and then make him play catch up?
No, because more times than not this season, what has happened is the Bills end up being the last team to score in that first half.
Okay.
So they start there. And the Bills this season has been mediocre or slow to start in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been one of the best teams in the second and third quarter. Why? Because they score just before the end of the half, and they usually score in the beginning of the second half.
And that's huge. That's huge. Big time.
And that is exactly why the Bills are sitting here in the 2 seed and not in the 7 seed. Is because they're able to stop. They're able to game manage. That's something McDermott has actually excelled at this year. Mm-hmm. Is his game management. Now, if he can do it in the playoffs, that's another question. And I'm waiting to see it. But, there are times where I wish that McDermott was not a defensive-minded coach, and I wish he was an offensive-minded coach because it's an offensive league. And, I mean,
that's the knock. That's the knock on defensive coordinators is that usually defensive coordinators that become coaches, they struggle with the offense because that's not their right. Exactly.
Yeah. Nowadays, but like when Tomlin was actually first made a head coach, that was the time for the defensive-minded coaches. They were the ones that were bringing in the championships. They were the ones that were winning.
Well, to be fair, and
i.e. Bill Belichick.
To be fair, Matt can back me up on this. They had a lot of good weapons on offense. You had Big Ben, it's Antonio Holmes, you had Antonio Brown, you had guys Wallace, you had you had Jerome Bennis, you had a lot of good weapons on that offense already. Usually when a defensive coach let's take the Commanders for example. They lucked out on getting Jaden Daniels. I did not see Jaden Daniels being this good, okay? But you look outside of Jaden Daniels, they have Terry McLaurin. That's it. Brian Robinson's been
And-
bad. You know,
and an aging
De'Ami
Eckler.
Brown's not good. They don't. Oh yeah, aging. Yeah, Ertz. You mean Ertz? Oh, and aging. I like Eckler, but
Eckler's a running back.
right. But what I'm saying is like they only have like one really good weapon on that offense when you have a defensive coach, but even the defense isn't that good. So I don't know. I like how did you see what AG said in his presser about being a coach? He's like, I'm a coach. I just coach defense. That's how he said it. I liked how he said that because that's the mentality you need to have. Because the reality is defensive coaches are not a big hot commodity anymore in the NFL. It's about the hot, sexy coordinators that can do the flea flickers, that can do the deep passes, the end arounds, all that bullshit, can find the matchups and all that stuff. That's what teams want. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, you can still have a defensive coordinator be a head coach. You just got to have a defensive coordinator that knows his weakness is offense, and you get a good offensive coordinator. It's just like what any offensive coordinator gets a good-ass defensive coordinator. O'Connell and Flores.
But would you rather have a struggling defense or a struggling offense if you had a choice?
I'd rather have a struggling,
defense.
I'd rather have a struggling defense.
Yeah.
I was
Defense.
gonna say you Lions. You Lions should
Yeah.
definitely say struggling defense. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
look what
because
just
Stafford
happened.
can
I
win
mean,
us
you guys went
games
through
with fucking weapons. Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know if it's really struggling, but it's more like we ain't got anybody.
So when you say
that's what I mean. You guys struggle to stop the other teams from being able to put up yards and points and stuff.
And I
But
think
ultimately came out with the W is the most important part.
And
Right.
I think that's the one thing we can talk about with the Steelers. The Steelers did a really good job with finding Ben. Ben is a great fucking quarterback, had great years, really did a great job. Once Ben retired, you guys really did not address the quarterback situation. It was just kind of a who's who of whatever you could find.
Well, they tried. They tried with Mason. They thought Mason was going to be the man.
That guy was
And
trash.
we all knew that, but that was
Hey, hey! Watch your mouth on MVP Mason there, man.
But the point, but my point is, if you're a defensive coach, you have to get the quarterback right. Like, look at Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn inherited, got Jaden Daniels, and he got it right because now he's going to be the quarterback for the next 15 years, probably for them if they keep him, and all that. Tomlin is still trying to figure out that quarterback, and unfortunately, it could cost him his job at some point because, you got a good defense. You got a lot of good young players on defense. I love their defense. Joey Porter is going to be a stud. I love Joey Porter. And you got TJ Watt still. But offensively, you can't score points. You're not going to win a lot of games, or you're not going to win the big games. And that's the problem that the Steelers are kind of run into. They're kind of in that mid kind of tier right now.
Well, they thought they had somebody. They thought they had somebody when they drafted Kenny Pickett because he had a hot year at Pitt coming out of college. But
and he was from Pitt. He went to
Pitt. What killed Kenny Pickett was not Kenny Pickett. It was Matt Canada.
His hands. Mm-hmm. It was his hands. Stop it.
No, come on, man. College football is just as big, and he whipped that around college like it was nothing.
Yeah, but with Kenny Pickett really the answer? I mean, shouldn't they have gotten a better opportunity after losing Big Ben? I mean,
if he had a better, the coaching staff holds the team back. They make bonehead decisions left and right.
And who hires the coaching staff?
Yeah,
Mike Tomlin can have a bad season with Nathan Peterman, and the Roonies will not fire him.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
because
thing,
he's won every season.
Yeah, because
they haven't won the big games.
Mike Tomlin, this is how he coaches. He tells the offense, "Don't turn the ball over. We're going to try to win every game with defense."
Yeah. What's a defensive-minded coach? That's the mentality you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Like even AG says. AG says that.
See, that style would have worked probably maybe 15, 16 years ago. That really don't work anymore. Like run the ball.
Wasn't they 10-7 or 11-6 or some shit like that?
10 this year?
Yeah.
Or 10-7.
10-7. See, he did enough just to win enough games so he doesn't get fired. Yeah. And the thing is, you know what he's doing? He's waiting until his son graduates out of college, and that'll be next year. That's when he's going to retire.
Where's
he just stayed in Pitt.
Oh,
No, his son goes to Maryland.
I thought he went to Pitt.
No, his son goes to Maryland because he's a wide receiver for the Maryland Terps, or that what they called.
Terrapins,
Yeah,
Terrapins.
the Terps,
Yeah, but they have a quarterback on the roster I think can be the future, and that's Justin Fields. I think he can be the future with the right offensive coordinator. I think he can be it.
The
Well,
thing is, if you're a defensive coach like Mike Tomlin is, you have to get the quarterback right. Because at least if you have a good defense that can play lights out, look at the Texans. Texans were built their defense, and you got the quarterback right with Stroud. Stroud is a guy that you can play with. Look at the Niners. You know, they think Brock Purdy is that guy. You have this stout defense, but you have to have. But if you're a defensive coach, you have to have that quarterback. You can't be a defensive coach and not have a quarterback, because then. Yeah, you could hire any OC you want, but if you don't have the quarterback, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it's all about
offensive-minded coach or defensive-minded coach. If you ain't got a quarterback, you ain't doing shit. Look at
it's all about the quarterback position.
But it's harder. But it's harder for a defense. But it's harder for a defensive-minded coach, because here's the thing: if you're an offensive-minded coach, you have you're more in tune with the offense, how it works with the O-line, the running backs, the receivers. You know all that shit. Defensive coaches, they can say that they're coaches, but they can be tone deaf to offense. You know, because when I coach football, I was a defensive-minded coach. I was always on the defense side. When it came to offense, I was kind of tone deaf myself. I knew some stuff about offense, but I wasn't able to know all the techniques of the offense because I was focused so much on the defense. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that as a defensive coach, you want to have that quarterback, because at least if you have a good quarterback, he can shit the bed and clean up for you too. When you have a bad quarterback and you have a good defense, i.e. Jets, that's things that happen, you know. So
another thing they still is trying to fix things with Band-Aids instead of actually trying to get a permanent quarterback.
Yeah, but the problem is they keep having these winning seasons, so they get mediocre draft picks. So the only way they're really going to get like a bona fide chance to get one of the better chance of quarterbacks, the rookies like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and whatnot, the top picks there, you got to trade up, and that means you're going to have to trade away draft capital and like heavy draft capital, or one of your star players along with draft capital. There's no way around it.
If I were the Steelers and and Darnold did not get tagged, I would go after him. Because even though he's not the greatest quarterback in the world, you still got some decent weapons, and he doesn't have to be that all world. He's got a great fucking defense, you know. And he's better than Fields. I'm sorry, he is. I would take him over Fields.
You can put just about any quarterback on that Minnesota team, and they were going to sit there and do good. Look at all the weapons they had.
I don't know about any quarterback. Daniel Jones would have done that shit. I don't know about that.
I don't know if I can write Justin Fields off. I have to see him in a full season as the starter.
The thing with Justin Fields is I need to see more of a thrower. How he's progressed as a thrower, because we know how good he can run. He's a very good runner, and he can run with the best. But can he throw from the pocket? That's the next part of his game.
Tomlin made a bonehead decision benching him for Wilson.
Wilson didn't play bad. I thought Wilson played.
He was 6-1 until they had that 5-game losing streak. It's when he should have put Will Fields back in was the problem.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it was. Mm-hmm. Not that he made a bad decision for Russ, because Russ, when he put Russ in there, Russ was fucking cooking. He was 6-1 before they went on a 5-game losing streak. So he needed to put Justin Fields in or acclimated that offense where Justin Fields was a big part of that offense, but he didn't do either one of those.
And the reality is too, you've got to put more weapons for Russ or Fields. Yeah, all you have is Pickens out there and Freiermuth. Who else do you have out there that scares defenses?
Nobody. But besides Pickens, the receiver, you got Van Jefferson at number 2.
And nobody's scared of Pickens either.
Yeah. Like
Roman Wilson is on IR, so he couldn't even.
Oh, I forgot about Roman Wilson.
Don't forget Pickens.
I think that's the thing that killed you all right there is the Roman Wilson injury, because who knows what could have happened if he was playing too. I mean, that would have.
That's the.
And I don't think Mike Williams was a bad addition to that group.
I forgot
you just didn't utilize him right. That's the whole thing. I mean,
And the guy's always
he
hurt
played good the
anyway,
first
so-
2 or 3. He wasn't hurt for the last few games at all.
The last game of the year said it all when they weren't passing the ball. They ran the ball 26 times for like 68 yards.
Well, Najee Henry. Well,
And like
you gotta
this
figure out
was
what's gonna happen to Najee Henry.
this was the offensive play calling. They will get an explosive play, and then everybody will know they will run the ball the next 2 times. They always did it. They'll get an explosive play, then run the ball back to back times and get nowhere.
Yeah, you didn't have to be Tony Romo to call them plays. You could see his plays called in a mile away.
Yeah.
This was their offense. Run, short pass, punt the ball.
Short pass or screen.
Yeah.
You would see it just about every week, Robbie, in our private chat. Oh, here goes a run, screen, punt, and sure shit, that's exactly what would happen.
Well, Arthur Smith.
I hate this fucking offense.
It's gonna be the same fucking bullshit next year. They're just gonna play good enough to keep his winning bullshit record alive, and that's it.
Arthur
Need
Smith,
a better offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's not an offensive coordinator. The guy wouldn't even play Bijan. Bijan's one of the best running backs in the NFL, up and coming, and he would never play Bijan. It made no fucking sense, or even include Pitts in the offense. Two of your best weapons, he couldn't even fucking do that.
You should have been there when we hired him. I was in the chat, fucking pissed off.
I'm sure a lot of people were.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, all right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this show up. We could talk all night about football. Any final thoughts before we wrap this show up? I'll start with you, Monkey.
Go Bills. Fuck the Ravens. Good luck to everybody else's teams.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good game, man. I'm excited to see that. I'm actually gonna try to watch the whole game. Hopefully, it's gonna be worth it. Because every time they build up a game to be the game, it sucks ass, and I stop watching.
Watch, it'll be the game will end up being like a 10-7 score. Or
that's fine. That's fine as long as it's close.
Both
I'm cool with
quarterbacks
it.
suck ass, and everyone just plays like shit. Everyone's like, "This is not what we expected."
I don't want to blow out. I don't
want
want
to expected.
Yeah, I don't want to blow out either way. I want to see a
hell
game.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a blowout, but I want to see the Bills with a comfortable lead the whole entire way.
All right, man. What your takes or final thoughts?
Go Bills, go Lions, and don't hinder the Yinzer.
Oh man, he's got the Mad Hatter's thinking today, huh? All right, I like
Picking
it.
up your trash can and pissing on your van.
No, I piss on trash cans now.
Oh, you piss on the trash can?
He's pouring kicks him over.
I feel like
this stepping your game up, Robbie.
Pisses on the handles. He kicks him over, pisses on the handles, so the dude has to pick him up.
I feel like this podcast is going to get reported at some point. We're going to have to pass it back. All right, B, get in there, man. Give me your thoughts. How you feeling?
Go Lions. Go Bills. Fuck everybody else.
He's not like the old man on the porch. Like, get the fuck off my porch. Let me go to sleep.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my porch. All right, man. Well, thank y'all for coming on the show. Hey, we love having y'all. I think in the off season we're gonna do this. We're gonna try to bring as many people we can that are from different teams, and we're just gonna check the temperature of each one of us and just see how things are going. I know y'all will be hating us after we win the Lombardi. It'll be fun.
Well, I'm hoping one of your teams.
That's not how that works.
I'm hoping one of your teams get a Super Bowl parade at the end of the season.
That's gonna be fucking awesome.
Go.
Yeah.
If the Bills get a Super Bowl parade, Buffalo's being burnt down. I'm just telling you now.
No, Detroit will be burnt down.
Right. 8 Mile.
There won't be any work for Detroit for probably a week. Like everybody's gonna be gone, inebriated, drugged up. Who the fuck knows?
Say bye to 8 Mile.
8 Mile MIA for the longest. All right, y'all. Well, it was a pleasure having y'all on. As always, fuck the Vikings, fuck the Bears, fuck the Whackers.
The Whackers, yeah.
Enjoy y'all's night. Enjoy the games. Go Lions. Take belt to ass and have a good night. We're out.